Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. God Rewarding System. Am I a Beast Master? Chapter 81. Rhubarb, hit it. Suju looked at the display on the impact plate and nodded with satisfaction. 6 consecutive 10,000-year red fruits raised rhubarb to the platinum realm of 9 stars. When you want to improve again, the spiritual contract feedbacks to yourself that the pet beast cannot continue to improve, and it is already rhubarb's limit. Suju looked at the 9-star platinum level rhubarb and had the urge to change the spiritual contract back. Now as long as he changes it back, Suju can instantly enter the platinum realm of 9 stars. It's just that this impulse is just a thought. It is impossible for Suju to modify the spiritual contract. After assigning Dawang today's mission, Suju started today's training mission. As for Kui Niu and Gui Jiancho, Suju had no way of assigning them cultivation tasks. In fact, the skills of these two guys are already top-notch, and it is impossible to improve them now. Just when Suju was preparing to train by himself, a notification sound came from the system. This system senses the host's confusion and specially activates the customization function. The host can customize skills or techniques based on the beast's understanding. Suju's eyes couldn't help but light up when he heard this, and he quickly checked the understanding of the 3 pet beasts. Mingdi only has 150 points, but this guy's skills are already abnormal enough, so he doesn't need other skills for the time being. Kui Niu has more understanding, with 280 points, and can customize a skill attack skill. Otherwise, Kui Niu now only has the Kui Niu Roar active skill, which would be a huge disadvantage during the battle. Dawang has the most comprehension points. He had 50 points when he first signed the contract. After following him for so long, his comprehension points are now as high as 520. Suju immediately made a decision, customized an attack skill for Kui Niu, and prepared to customize a set of exercises for Dawang. Now the 72 Aperture Beast King Kung Fu obviously cannot keep up with rhubarb, so it has to be upgraded to 108 apertures. Although the 72 Aperture technique can be used anywhere, who wants to have 2 perverts who know the 360 Aperture technique next to him? Following Suju's order, the system's voice sounded again. Host, this deduction will cost 500 comprehension points. Do you want to perform the deduction? Suju made the decision without thinking. 10 minutes later, the system sounded again. Congratulations to the host. After deducing from this system, I have won the 180-hole Chinese Garden Dog exclusive skill 1. 180 orifices. Suju thought it was okay. Although it was not as good as those 2 perverts, it was still stronger than the previous 72-hole Beast King. What's more important is that this set of exercises is unique to the Chinese Pastoral Dog, and it is definitely much stronger than the popular Beast King. Then a set of exclusive training methods on how to let the Chinese Pastoral Dog open these 180 orifices appeared in Suju's mind. Suju was completely dumbfounded this time. He had previously thought that there was only a way to run the technique, but he never thought that there was even a way to activate it. And according to the system's deduction, this set of exercises can be further reduced, and can be reduced to a minimum of 9 orifices exercises. This is already on the same level as my heaven opening Kong. It is definitely a heaven-defying level. According to this deduction, all creatures that evolved based on the Chinese Garden Dog can use this set of exercises. Doesn't this mean that those ice wolves and 3-headed dogs can practice this set of exercises? Although Suju didn't know whether the SSS level pet beasts had any training techniques and what their level was. But what is certain is that there is absolutely no abnormality in the 180 orifice skills provided by this system. And based on the deduction of the Keishin Kung Fu, Suju felt that there was a possibility of further upgrading this set of techniques. The more Suju watched, the more satisfied he became with this deduction, and the stronger his desire to set up a non-staff organization became. The 10B level ice wolves were given to the female master to serve as guinea pigs for the research center. Now that I have this exclusive technique for Chinese pastoral dogs, can I get a few dogs that evolve in the direction of gray dogs? Put away this idea and observe Da Huang running his skills according to the latest running route. It took more than an hour to perform the 180 acupoint exercises for a full cycle. It was just the subsequent display that left Suju speechless, because the Dawang realm had already reached the ceiling due to his own reasons. This time when I ran the latest technique, there was really no waves at all, and it was so lonely. Just when Suju was thinking this, the system voice sounded again. The host, whether it is a human or a pet animal, will make the realm become illusory when taking the treasures of heaven and earth to upgrade. Using more exercises can offset these emptiness. When Suju heard this, he felt that it made sense. After all, when they were both in the gold realm, Kui Niu's strength was definitely stronger than the average 9-star pet beast in the platinum realm. From this, it could confirm what the system said. Then let Dawang continue to operate according to this set of exercises, several times a day. After solving Dawang's cultivation technique, Suju spent another 200 attribute points to customize an attack skill for Kui Niu. Congratulations to the host. Through this system's deduction, I have obtained the A-level skill Continuous Sound Blade. Continuous Sound Blade. Suju asked Kui Niu to use it and found that it was a long-range skill that could spread whether in the air or in water. The skill power is also very powerful. One mouth can fire 3 sound blades continuously. You can add a chain of sound blades behind Kui Niu roar to give the opponent a powerful attack. Just after Kui Niu understood the A-level serial sound blade skill, Kui Niu's training mission appeared on the mission interface. By continuously using the linked sound blade, the skill level of the linked sound blade can be improved. When Suju saw this scene, he sighed that it was indeed a god's reward system, a familiar recipe and a familiar taste. After looking at Mingdi Gui Jianchu's understanding, Suju felt that keeping it was a waste. It was better to give it a skill. In this way, when other pet beasts exercise in the future, they can also improve their skill levels with the exercise. After deducing from this system, congratulations to the host for obtaining the A-level auxiliary skills and changing the world. Change the world. What a loud tone. After careful inspection by Suju, he finally figured out the specific function of this skill. The so-called changing the world is not an attack skill, it is just an auxiliary skill. And this skill of Gui Jiancho cannot be used alone, it needs to be used together with the master. The main ability to change the world is to change one's appearance and breath. Seeing this skill, Suju rubbed his face, and soon it turned into a stranger's face, and even his breath changed slightly. Seeing this scene, Suju couldn't help but feel happy. This skill didn't seem to have much offensive power, but it was actually very effective. There is no need to buy disguise masks when you go to the antique market in the future. Disguise masks are treasures and will leave flaws no matter what. But now this change is different. Although it is only an A-level quality skill, it can change one's own aura, which is quite rare. Just like Kui Niu's newly obtained serial sound blade, this skill also has the task of continuously using it to improve the skill level. Suju took one look at this task and felt that he would become a face-squeezing expert in the future. It is estimated that all women will like this skill. It is not much better than beauty. Ah Shuang, is it okay if I don't go? Jia Yunan really doesn't want to deal with Suju now, because what happened last time was too easy for people to misunderstand. No, Nan, my dear Nan, let me beg you, okay. Yu Shuang didn't want to deal with Suju, but now that the Chinese Pastoral Dog Research Center was established, he had to go to Suju for quota matters. Oh, let's go. It's the same whether you die early or late. When they found Suju, they found that Suju didn't mention what happened last time at all, which made the two of them breathe a sigh of relief. Sister Nan, are you really not planning to contract a Chinese pastoral dog? Jia Yunan shook her head and said, Xiaoju, it's not that I don't want to, but now there is no space for beast control, and there is no way to make a contract. Besides, although the three-headed dog King of Hell is rare, it is not suitable for my fighting system. Suju nodded, seeing no one around, and said, Sister Nan, if you enter the realm of kings, you can really consider the Chinese pastoral dog. Master said that another evolution route of the Chinese garden dog has been discovered, which can allow the Chinese garden dog to evolve into AB level ice wolf. However, this evolutionary route is not complete yet and needs further confirmation. What? The two girls looked at Suju at the same time, and the shock on their faces could be seen at a glance. Is this Chinese garden dog some kind of mythical beast? Not to mention it has jumped and evolved into an A-level three-headed dog. Now there is actually an evolutionary path to evolve to AB level ice wolf. If this one is officially confirmed again, then this Chinese garden dog will definitely have unlimited potential. Su Ju was very satisfied with the shocked expressions of the two people and whispered, "You two seniors, don't be so surprised. The master is still researching this evolutionary route and has not officially determined it." Jia Yunan calmed down and said, "Xiao Ju, do you know what it means if this matter is really confirmed?" How could Su Ju be unclear? He nodded with a smile and said, "Of course I know that the Ice Soul Wolf can evolve into the SS-level Ice-Winged Wolf King, right?" The two girls nodded at the same time, and Jia Yunan said excitedly, "The three-headed dog King of Hell is not suitable for my combat system, but the Ice-Winged Wolf King is perfect for me." She was right about this. Although the Ice-Winged Wolf King had wings, it didn't fly very fast. But it is a pet beast that the Air Force needs. The reason is very simple. This thing can be used on both land and air, which is equivalent to the Air Force Marine Corps. The Air Force also knows that in order to pursue speed, most of the contracted pets are bird pets. Unless they are dragon pets, they have extraordinary land combat capabilities. Other bird pets are not very capable of land combat. But if the Chinese pastoral dog can really evolve into the Ice Soul Wolf, this will be of great significance. The country can completely form an Air Force Marine Corps with the Ice-Winged Wolf King as the main force. The Ice-Winged Wolf King's land combat capabilities are not comparable to those of pet birds. It's not that bird pets are useless, but bird pets are more suitable for sneak attacks, reconnaissance, and fighting with the opponent's air force. But if it is to land on the beach, the significance of the Ice Soul Wolf King will be reflected. That's why Jia Yunan had such a big reaction. It is actually the emergence of the Ice-Winged Wolf King that will change the future air combat system. Su Ju looked at Jia Yunan and said, "I think it will take some time for Sister Nan to enter the realm of kings. Why don't you come with me to the research center to take a look and get your seat first?" Yeah, thank you, Xiaoju." Jia Yunan only felt that she was going further and further down the road of debt. "Well, do you really want to commit yourself to it?" Su Ju took two people to the Chinese Pastoral Dog Research Center. When Su Ju arrived, he found that the place was heavily guarded. "Don't approach this important military area." Upon hearing this, Su Ju quickly showed his ID. After the two guards completed the verification, they said, "You can go in, but they can't." Su Ju shrugged and did not argue with the two guards. After all, this is his duty, and Su Ju doesn't want to cause any trouble to him. Picked up the phone and called Zhang Xin, and the call was quickly connected. "Master, the two senior sisters I mentioned are here, please let me go." "Well, I'll have someone pick you up." Not long after hanging up the phone, a young girl came over, said something to the two guards, and brought the three people in. Su Ju didn't know this girl, so she must be from the master's family. Su Ju could also understand such things. After all, he had such convenience, so it would be unreasonable for him not to take care of his family. "You guys come with me." Su Ju followed the girl and walked towards the inside of the research center. Looking at the girl's back and slender figure, Su Ju felt like spring. Su Ju quickly used the no desire skill to calm down, and at the same time blamed himself. How could this be possible? Could it be said that as I grow older, I have also reached the age of spring? It shouldn't be. After all, I have no such thoughts towards the two senior sisters around me. After entering the research center, the girl said to the two girls, "You come with me, and I will take you through the formalities so that you can come and go here at will in the future." Jia Yunan and Yu Shuang followed to go through the formalities, while Su Ju came to the master's office. He knocked on the door and walked in. He saw the master looking at a document in his hand. "Not bad, you have a girlfriend so soon." Su Ju shook his head slightly and said, "Master is joking, I am still young and don't care about my girlfriend." Zhang Xin put down the document in her hand and said seriously, "Well, did the girl just see it?" Su Ju nodded without saying anything, waiting for the master's next words. Zhang Xin continued, "Her name is Zhang Wenwen, and she is my biological niece. She is the best choice in terms of appearance, figure, and cultivation talent. I think you should try to get along with her." "Well, master, I'm still young. Isn't it appropriate to fall in love?" Su Ju said this, but the girl's back could not help but reappear in his mind. Zhang Xin looked like someone who had come before, and said, "Xiao Ju, I have watched this girl Wenwen grow up. How can your master treat you badly? I think you two are really suitable. He could understand his master's approach. It was a routine operation for big families to tie up outstanding talents through marriage. He believed that as long as he nodded, Zhang Wenwen would have to obey the family's orders no matter how unwilling she was. It's just, master, I have no plans to fall in love yet. Zhang Xin didn't take it seriously and continued. I took a look at the two girls you brought just now. One is from the Jia family and the other is from the Yu family. They both have fiancés. If you like them, I can also follow them. Let's talk about these two families. Of course, I still recommend my Wenwen to you. My Wenwen is no worse than these two girls. You two are of similar age and can get along more easily. As a representative of the aristocratic family sect, how could Zhang Xin give up on a genius like Su Ju? However, she knew that the strong-willed Melon was not sweet, so she did not directly make an engagement with his family, but let them have more contact. She believed that at Su Ju's age, as long as girls took the initiative, there was little chance that boys could resist the temptation. While others are still unaware of Su Ju's potential, our family must firmly seize this opportunity. Su Ju looked helpless, but he really didn't have such thoughts now. But there are some things that you don't just want to do if you don't want to, and the external environment must also be considered. Well, master, I will seriously consider it. Zhang Xin looked pleased and said, well, you can think so, I'm very pleased. Wenwen is still very good, I believe in master's vision. Su Ju sighed in his heart. His mother called him yesterday and asked his girlfriend about it. He said that he is now in a serious beast control school and must find a daughter-in-law with good talent, so that the chances of the next generation of natal beasts with high awakening potential will be greatly increased. It doesn't matter if you are a little ugly, as long as you are talented. If you don't think about yourself, you should also think about the next generation. Regarding this, Su Ju patted his chest and promised his mother that he would find her a satisfactory daughter-in-law. In my previous life, I was physically disabled and no one would take notice of me. My mother never told me about getting married and having children. But things are different now. Su Ju has to think about these things when he thinks about his past and present lives. If you don't think about yourself, you should also think about your mother. It's just that I really don't want to find a girlfriend so early. The behind-the-back kill just now was actually pretty good. Su Ju shook his head and stopped thinking about these messy things, and said, Master, I have something else to do with you this time. Zhang Xin didn't care either. This guy hadn't figured it out yet and didn't know the benefits of women. With myself watching over here, Wenwen still has a great chance. Well, what else do you have to do? Su Ju said sternly. Master, I have a training method that can help the Chinese garden dog to awaken. Zhang Xin looked at Su Ju and wanted to say, you haven't enlightened yourself yet, how can you enlighten a dog? But then he realized that this enlightenment was completely different from the enlightenment Su Ju said. Zhang Xin frowned slightly and said, Xiao Ju, I don't quite understand what you mean. Isn't this pet beast born with acupoints? If you want to have acupoints, just evolve. After evolution, the acupoints will open automatically. Su Ju patiently explained. Master, the kind of enlightenment you are talking about is an evolved one. What I am talking about is an enlightenment similar to that of us humans. It can be achieved through training. Zhang Xin's head was full of questions, and she didn't understand what Su Ju meant by this. Xiao Zhuo, why am I a little confused when I hear this? I understand the opening of the human body. Isn't it about positioning, pregnancy, and flushing to open the acupuncture points? When can the acupoints be opened through training? Su Ju also looked at Zhang Xin in surprise and said, Master, you don't know. What do I know? Zhang Xin was even more confused when she was asked. She felt like this kid hadn't woken up yet. Su Ju asked in confusion, the training method is enlightening. This was developed by my principal and master. Don't you know? When Zhang Xin heard this, her eyes instantly lit up and she said, Xiao Ju, tell me, what's going on with this training method? Su Ju saw that the female master really didn't know, so he patiently explained the enlightenment training method. Hiss. Zhang Xin couldn't help but take a breath after hearing this. After all, she was from the martial arts school, and she knew very well what this set of mind-opening training methods meant to the martial arts school. Is what you said true? Suju nodded and said, Master, the principal and I were originally in Fengcheng, and it was because of this enlightenment training method that we came to the imperial capital. At that time, it was said that we were planning to set up a research center in the 9 regions of the imperial capital. Unfortunately, it has been so long, but the training center has not been built yet. It is not built as fast as the Chinese Garden Dog Research Center. After hearing this, Zhang Xin shook her head and said, No, 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 you don't understand. Although that training method is magical, it is far from as important as the Chinese pastoral dog. Suju looked at Zhang Xin with a puzzled expression, not understanding what this meant. Zhang Xin explained, Zhangshan's training method is indeed magical, but how many acupoints can be opened now? There are too few, and it can't even form a skill. Of course, this is also related to the fact that this training method is still in its infancy. If more acupoints can be opened and there are supporting exercises and skills, then this set of training methods will really attract the attention of the above. But your Chinese garden dog evolution roadmap is different. First of all, this is a world of beast control, and the evolutionary path of the pet beast is more important than its own enlightenment. Secondly, your evolutionary roadmap has been finished. Whether it's a 3-headed dog or an ice wolf, they have all truly evolved successfully. This training method cannot compare to that. After hearing this, Suju really wanted to say that there are matching exercises, skills, etc., isn't it the shadowless kick? But these things cannot be exposed yet. After all, the principal and master are preparing to release the enlightenment method bit by bit, which is completely different from the Chinese pastoral dog. Also, the female master is right. After all, this is the world of beast control, not the world of warriors. The enlightenment training method is very useful for warriors, but it is certainly not as useful as the new evolutionary roadmap for beast masters. Zhang Xin saw that Suju understood what she meant and said, but I am very interested in the training method you mentioned, but I don't know if it will be useful in the tidal realm. Suju thought for a moment and said, it should be useful. The principal and master opened several acupoints when he was in the 8-star legendary realm. Zhang Xin nodded and said, Well, I will practice when I have time to see if I can open more acupoints. Although there are still many things that Zhang Xin has not dealt with at the Chinese Garden Dog Research Center. But she is also a member of the martial arts school, and has a unique dedication to martial arts. Suju continued, Master, my Dawang said that it has a training method similar to that of the principal and master, which can help the Chinese pastoral dog open more acupoints. And after these acupoints are opened, they will not disappear due to evolution. There is also a set of 36 aperture cultivation techniques to match them. Suju didn't take out the 180 aperture technique, but felt that the 36 aperture technique should be enough. What did you say? Zhang Xin was no longer calm at this moment and looked at Suju with a shocked expression. Someone has said it before, whether it is the ice-winged wolf king or the 3-headed dog king of hell. Although they are all high-level pet beasts with potential, it is not easy to cultivate them without practicing skills. After all, potential is potential, and realm is realm, 2 concepts that cannot be confused. But now this guy said that he has a training method that can help Chinese garden dogs open their acupoints for practicing exercises. Moreover, it is a 36 orifice cultivation technique. It is really rare for this to appear on a Chinese pastoral dog. Suju didn't expect the master's reaction to be so big, and explained, Master, you heard it right. Dawang said that it has a set of training methods that can help the Chinese garden dog to open up its acupoints, and these acupoints are connected to form a set of 36 acupoints. Kung Fu. Master, there is no need to lie to you. Look at the reason why my Dawang's realm has improved so quickly. It's because of the cultivation techniques. Zhang Xin quickly said, Summon your rhubarb out and give me a closer look. Suju didn't waste any time and waved his hand to let Dawang come out. Seeing Dawang's level, Zhang Xin turned to look at Suju and said, Didn't the game the day before yesterday still reach 9 stars in the gold level? How come it reached 9 stars in the platinum level so quickly? Suju almost forgot about this and explained, Master, I forgot to tell you, the last time the principal master refused to let me continue the challenge, he won 2 10,000-year red fruits for me. I got a few more from other channels, so rhubarb has now entered the platinum realm of 9 stars. I just didn't expect that even if I modified the spiritual contract, Dawang would still be affected by me and there would be no way to continue to advance. Depend on. Zhang Xin wanted to scold her, but this fool actually fed the dog 10,000 years of red fruit, and there were more than one. What a blast. The most important thing is that this fool has modified the spiritual contract, and the natal beast cannot advance with him. But now is not the time to talk about this. Zhang Xin looked at the rhubarb carefully. I just looked at it for a long time and didn't find anything wrong with the rhubarb. He said to Dawang, Dawang, use your cultivation techniques. Suju quickly made rhubarb use the 36 acupoint technique through a spiritual contract instead of the 180 acupoint technique. Zhang Xin felt the energy fluctuations in Dawang's body and knew that this was a cultivation method. I originally felt that it was a pity that the Chinese pastoral dog did not practice the exercises. But now it seems that with this set of training methods in the future, the Chinese pastoral dog will definitely overturn the entire world of beast control. The most important thing is that the Chinese garden dog is born with a lot of loyalty, which is not comparable to other pet animals. Zhang Xin heard what Suju said and said, Xiaoju, what you are talking about is of great importance. Let's test it ourselves before talking. Suju nodded, feeling that there was nothing wrong with what the female master did. Well, master, I think so too, and I have a plan. Huh, say it, master, the Chinese garden dog is naturally loyal. Even without a contract, its loyalty to its owner is much easier to cultivate than other pet animals. So I plan to train a few non-staff Chinese pastoral dogs. This will give me a huge advantage when I go out to fight with people in the future. Zhang Xin nodded after listening and said, well, you were right. The reason why the higher-ups attach so much importance to the Chinese pastoral dog is because they consider the loyalty of the Chinese pastoral dog. It's not impossible for you to train a few non-staff Chinese garden dogs. With the resources we have here, it will definitely be no problem to train them. In Zhang Xin's opinion, there is no problem at all in using the resources of the Research Institute to train a few Chinese pastoral dogs for this boy. It is not considered to be for personal gain. After all, the institute itself wants to cultivate these Chinese pastoral dogs, but in the end the advantage fell into the hands of his apprentice. Su Julu said with some regret, it's a pity that these Chinese pastoral dogs cannot be stored in the animal control space. It would be great if there was a container like this, just like a storage bracelet. Zhang Xin also felt that her apprentice was very imaginative and said, boy, what are you thinking about? The storage equipment can only hold dead objects, but it cannot hold living objects at all. You said so. How could Su Ju not understand what the master said and just complained afterwards? After Zhang Xin finished speaking, something suddenly occurred to her and she said, Xiaoju, this thing you are talking about was proposed by someone many years ago, and its name is Artificial Beast Controlling Space. Artificial Beast Controlling Space. Zhang Xin nodded and said, at that time, the country attached great importance to this matter and even established a research center. Unfortunately, after so many years, there has been no success at all. Oh, by the way, I remembered that the research center is also in Juyu, but now the country has given up on this project. Also in Juyu, Su Ju felt that there was such a genius among the 9 kings, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Zhang Xin nodded and said, it is indeed in Juyu, but in the past 50 or 60 years, the country has long abandoned this research center and there is probably no one in it anymore. Oh, Su Ju didn't say anything, thinking about going back and asking the principal and master, he must know where the research center is. Zhang Xin looked at Su Ju and said, but your idea of cultivating supernumerary pet beasts is still good, but I'm worried that you don't have the time to cultivate them. What Zhang Xin said is true. The reason why warrior masters do not contract so many pet beasts is because they also have to practice. Now this kid has to practice on his own and also to cultivate supernumerary beasts. Zhang Xin is also worried that he doesn't have time. Su Ju had already thought about this problem and said, Master, Chinese garden dogs are not as delicate as you think. I want to let them go free. Freezing. Zhang Xin looked at Su Ju in disbelief and said, you said you wanted to let go. Su Ju nodded and said, yes, I will be responsible for providing some resources, and the rest will be given to Da Huang to train with these Chinese pastoral dogs. Leading dogs with dogs. What Zhang Xin heard was a bit strange, but thinking about the habits of Chinese pastoral dogs, it felt that it was not impossible. While Su Ju was talking to Zhang Xin, Zhang Wenwen walked in with two girls. Wenwen, you take Su Ju to open the egg. You two stay, I have something to ask. Su Ju was not a fool. He understood the meaning as soon as he heard it. This is to let Zhang Wenwen get along with him alone, while leaving Jia Yunan and the others aside. Su Ju didn't say anything to this. He nodded with the two girls, turned around and left with Zhang Wenwen. Zhang Wenwen took Su Ju to the storage warehouse, where there were many Chinese garden dog eggs. Ajiu, don't you already have a Chinese pastoral dog? Why are you still thinking about contracting a Chinese pastoral dog? Su Ju smiled slightly and said, I think this Chinese pastoral dog has great potential, so I just want to get some extra pet animals. Zhang Xin did not tell her family about the evolutionary roadmap of the Chinese pastoral dog. It was Su Ju who provided it. She just told Zhang Wenwen that Su Ju was her direct disciple and had great potential, so she could seize the opportunity. So now when I heard Su Ju's words, I couldn't help but frown. My sister-in-law, my direct disciple, is a bit too ambitious. She is also a member of the system, and she knows very well that people in the warrior system do not contract many pet beasts for their own cultivation. Now this Su Ju is also a warrior. Why does he still think it takes too much time to practice? He wants to cultivate a non-staff pet beast. I was blown away by my sister-in-law at first, but now it doesn't look so good. Zhang Wenwen was not a talkative person, and she did not tell Su Ju these things. Now that the two of them have just met, let's observe them for a while before talking. The two people quickly came to the storage room, and Su Ju randomly selected 10 Chinese garden dog pet eggs. I just thought that I don't have to bring it myself anyway, so I might as well contract more at once. Master will definitely not be short of these resources. Thinking of this, Su Ju selected 40 Chinese garden dog eggs again. Zhang Wenwen saw Su Ju taking so many at once and asked curiously, Ajiu, you have raised so many Chinese garden dogs at once, can you take care of them? Su Ju looked at her in surprise and said, why should I take care of them? Why should I take care of them? After hearing Su Ju's words, Zhang Wenwen wanted to open Su Ju's head to see what was growing inside. If you don't take care of these dogs, why are you raising them? Su Ju waved his hand to summon Dawang and said, look, this is my natal beast Dawang. Zhang Wenwen can't keep up with Su Ju's brain circuit. Why are you summoning your natal beast at this time? Su Ju didn't waste any time, just put a drop of blood on it and opened a pet egg. Then a fleshy little head stuck out from inside, and it turned out to be a 5 black dog. Su Ju said to the little guy, from now on, I'll call you Xiaohei, Dawang. Xiaohei will be under your care from now on. Woof, Dawang yelled, then ran over and licked Xiaohei again and again, and then held it behind him. Although Xiaohei has no spiritual contract, the moment he opens the pet egg, he knows who his master is. Now when he heard Su Ju's words, he also let out a milky cry and stood behind Dawang. Su Ju glanced at Zhang Wenwen proudly and said, look, I don't need to take care of this at all. It's not a problem with rhubarb here. Can it still be done like this? Zhang Wenwen was also a little dumbfounded when she saw this scene, feeling that this was really a good idea. Su Ju continued, how about this, it's a good operation. Let me tell you, this Chinese garden dog is not as delicate as other pet animals, and it doesn't need any precious food. It can feed itself with just one bite, and it is never picky about food. The most important thing is to be absolutely loyal to the owner. This is something that other pet animals do not have. This is also the advantage of the Chinese garden dog. My idea is to breed dozens of Chinese garden dogs. With the resources of the research center, I don't have to worry about them not being able to grow up. And with the natal beast rhubarb here, I can also keep abreast of the situation of these Chinese pastoral dogs. Even if I don't sign a contract with them, I can still command them to fight. In the past, there were thousands of horses galloping. When I have trained 10,000 Chinese garden dogs, I will give them a galloping of 10,000 dogs. Let me see which one who is short-sighted dares to provoke me. Hiss. When Zhang Wenwen looked at Su Ju again, she had a different look. I used to think that this guy was too ambitious, but now it seems that he thinks a lot more than me. The most important thing is that this idea is very likely to be realized by him. Thousands of dogs galloping. This is going to subvert the rhythm of the world of beast control. A total of 50 Chinese pastoral dogs were brought out, and 50 drops of Su Ju's blood were wasted. Thinking of the heroic words he had spoken before, such as the words, 10,000 dogs galloping, Su Ju felt that they were a bit loud. These 10,000 Chinese pastoral dogs are 10,000 drops of blood. Why don't you drain them yourself? Looking back at Dawang, Su Ju said, Dawang, take them for training. Woof. Dawang barked, not only in response to Su Ju, but also in order to give orders to the brats behind him. Then under Zhang Wenwen's shocked eyes, he left here like a generalissimo. She saw with her own eyes how well behaved the Chinese pastoral dogs behind Dawang were. Dawang led the way, not a single Chinese pastoral dog barked, they all followed behind him honestly. Ajiu, I feel that your idea will definitely change the pattern of war in the future. This Chinese pastoral dog is too abnormal. If it doesn't work, I will have to contract one. Zhang Wenwen really wanted to contract a Chinese pastoral dog at this time. With examples like Da Huang, there was no way she could not be tempted. Su Ju chuckled and said, then you have to hurry up. It's best to sign the contract now. I'll just let Dawang bring a few more pups. For Su Ju, he can raise even one dog and let 10 dogs roam free. With rhubarb around, he doesn't need to worry about it at all. Zhang Wenwen looked at Su Ju and said, well, is this good? Can your Dawang see it? Su Ju looked at Zhang Wenwen and said, if I weren't afraid of being drained of blood, I would still like to contract 50 more Chinese pastoral dogs. With the resources of the training center, are you afraid that you can't train them? Zhang Wenwen looked at Su Ju and asked doubtfully, isn't it bad to occupy national resources so blatantly? Su Ju curled his lips and said, look at you, the situation is too small. Why is this taking up national resources? This is a necessary experiment to change the war situation in the future, okay. Even if the Minister of Education comes, I have to say good experiment and creative ideas. Zhang Wenwen heard Su Ju's words and thought of the behavior of those Chinese pastoral dogs before, and felt that there was nothing wrong with it. Since Su Ju was able to make 50 contracts, he should also make 50 contracts, which would be enough for 100 contracts. Zhang Wenwen was not a nagging person either. With this idea in mind, she contracted a Chinese pastoral dog in front of Su Ju. Then he followed Su Ju's example and opened 50 Chinese garden dog pet eggs. Su Ju called Dawang back and said, Dawang, your team has grown again, these will also be your soldiers from now on. Woof. For Dawang Lao, the more soldiers he has, the better. Zhang Wenwen also made her Chinese pastoral dog listen to rhubarb through a spiritual contract. Then those who were turned on were Chinese pastoral dogs. In front of rhubarb, a 9-star platinum level boss, Zhang Wenwen just said a simple word and left obediently. Seeing this scene, Zhang Wenwen's eyes became brighter and brighter. Ajiu, I feel that your method will definitely change the pattern of future wars. This Chinese pastoral dog is so obedient. Su Ju smiled slightly and said, my natal animal is the Chinese garden dog, so I am very confident in the Chinese garden dog. Don't worry, the Chinese garden dog will definitely be the #1 pet animal group in the world of beast control. After hearing Su Ju's words, he thought about the fact that this Chinese pastoral dog could evolve into the 3-headed dog king of hell and the ice-winged wolf king. Zhang Wenwen felt that what Su Ju said was not an exaggeration. The only pity was that the Chinese garden dog itself did not practice the exercises. Come on, let's take a look at the training of the dogs. Su Ju took Zhang Wenwen to the training ground. At this time, Dawang was like a general, commanding the training of the 101 Chinese pastoral dogs. Zhang Xin also rushed over at this time, wanting to see how the Chinese garden dog training was going. When she saw the uniform training of all Chinese garden dogs, she couldn't help but feel a creepy feeling. Unlike new beast masters like Su Ju and Zhang Wenwen, she was a titled beast master who had been on the battlefield. The scene in front of her seemed to make her see a powerful ethnic group growing rapidly. How terrible, especially after learning that Su Ju has mastered the Chinese pastoral dog 36 orifice training method. She could already foresee how much potential this Chinese pastoral dog had. If she hadn't known about the absolutely loyal characteristics of the Chinese garden dog, Zhongshin would have nipped it in the bud as soon as possible. And with the absolutely loyal Chinese garden dog, it is definitely the most loyal partner of the beast control army. Zhongshin said to Zhang Wenwen, "Wenwen, go to my office and bring that red bag." Yes. After pushing Zhang Wenwen away, Zhongshin said solemnly, "Xiaoju, is your Chinese pastoral dog training method true?" Su Ju looked at the female master and said, "Ah, I feel that Da Wang will not lie to me. Aren't there 101 Chinese pastoral dogs? Let's give it a try and it will become clear." Zhongshin looked at the Chinese garden dog being trained and said, "Boy, let alone the 36 aperture technique, the 9 aperture technique has been confirmed. Our research center will be raised to 2 more levels. Isn't it?" Su Ju looked at Zhongshin in shock. He really didn't expect Zhongshin to say that. Zhongshin said solemnly, "I am not alarmist. This matter is of great importance. It is estimated that the military will be involved." Ah, Su Ju looked at Zhongshin in shock, although he expected that the appearance of the Chinese pastoral dog would attract attention from above. "But I didn't expect that master would say that the military would also be involved." Zhongshin pointed to the training scene opposite and said, "What do you see from here?" Su Ju looked in the direction Zhongshin pointed and said, "A group of dogs are training." Zhongshin smiled slightly and said, "But what I saw was a group of soldiers who enforced orders and prohibitions. A group of people with unlimited potential is rising. Just now, when I saw the training of these Chinese garden dogs, do you know what my first thought was?" Su Ju shook his head. Due to his limited vision, he really didn't realize how terrible this was. Zhongshin explained, "My first thought was that humans are in danger. There is such a group in the world of beast control, which is a huge threat to humans. Of course, I also know that Chinese garden dogs have the skill of loyalty. It is precisely because of this characteristic that I did not take action. Instead, I thought that the military would be involved." After hearing this, Su Ju also realized the seriousness, but fortunately, as the master said, Chinese garden dogs have the characteristic of loyalty. If there really is such a group living in the human world, it would really be a huge threat to mankind. Zhongshin continued, "This Chinese pastoral dog is loyal and has strong reproductive ability. Now it has a new evolutionary route and new training methods. Do you think the military will get involved? If nothing else, let's see if your Dawang has the demeanor of a general. If trained well, will one dog be able to command 10,000 dogs to fight in the future?" Su Ju couldn't help but nodded after hearing this. According to his master, the military department might really be involved. Zhongshin patted Su Ju on the shoulder and said, "Xiao Ju, the world of beast control is very likely to take a big step forward because of your research." Su Ju chuckled, and Zhang Wenwen came back at this time. Zhongshin took her away from here and returned to her office. "How's it going? Isn't this young man pretty?" Zhang Wenwen smiled slightly and said, "Well, although I am a little average in appearance, my talent is still good." Zhongshin nodded and said, "Wenwen, don't worry, my sister-in-law will not trick you. You should be clear about family affairs. Even if you are not with Su Ju, you will be with others. This is our tragedy." A trace of helplessness flashed across Zhang Wenwen's face. She knew that her sister-in-law was right. While enjoying the family's resources, she had to pay for the family. Zhongshin continued, "But now I've got a chance for you. You two can try to talk. It's better than marrying a man you don't understand. Don't think that this is a family mission. You can think about it differently. It's like a matchmaker introducing you to a match. You are the blind date. Wouldn't it be easier to accept it?" Zhang Wenwen tried to think about it and felt that Su Ju was actually pretty good. "At least through today's contact, I feel pretty good." Zhongshin stood up and said, "Go, they are all young people, get in touch with him more, you will find that this kid has unlimited potential is not an exaggeration to describe him, he is a good match for you." Zhang Wenwen nodded and said, "Well, I'll try to make contact." Zhongshin laughed and said, "Well, that's right. Don't worry, I can trick you. Su Ju, you're in the next show." After hearing Hao Yun's words, Su Ju walked onto the ring with excitement. The previous skip level challenge missions have been completed 90 times in a row. Today, as long as you complete 10 more skip level challenges, you will get the flying pet. I don't know what kind of pet the system will reward me. So looking forward to it. When Coach Liu saw Suju coming on stage, he turned around and said to someone, Lan Jun, come on in the next game and show him some color. Lan Jun nodded and looked at Suju on the ring, unable to hide his fighting spirit. In the ring, Suju effortlessly eliminated the first-year student with one kick. Referee, I apply for a leapfrog challenge. Coach Liu looked at Lan Jun and signaled that he could come on stage. Lan Jun stepped onto the ring, looked at Suju and said, your tactics are very interesting. Now it depends on whether you are faster or my summon speed is faster. Suju looked at Lan Jun, who was on stage opposite, and said with a smile, don't worry, you'll know in a moment, right? Lan Jun nodded and had no intention of talking nonsense to Suju. He quietly waited for the trash talk time to end. The moment Lan Jun came to power, Haoyun realized something was wrong. Oh no, Suju is in trouble. Jia Yunan looked at the coach in confusion and said, Coach, what's wrong? Why is Suju in trouble? Haoyun looked at Lan Jun on the ring and said, the information is wrong. This Lan Jun has entered the Diamond Realm. Suju may not be his opponent. Diamond Realm. After hearing Haoyun's words, Jia Yunan also realized that things were not easy to handle. Suju's monster cow is powerful, but the opponent may not give you a chance to summon it. After all, this is not a water battle, and launching skills is much faster than in water. The referee saw that the two people were almost ready and said, the game begins. As the referee finished speaking, Suju jumped out immediately. At the same time, Mingdi's stop skill was used to control Lan Jun's speed immediately. Lan Jun only felt an invisible energy, limiting his summoning speed. Originally, he could complete the summoning in about 0.4 seconds, but now it took 0.6 seconds to summon the natal beast. This was the first time Suju used the stop skill, and he didn't feel it was of much use. Didn't you see that the pet beast on the other side has been summoned? Suju raised his leg and kicked Lan Jejun right in the chest. Lan Jun, as a Diamond Realm Beast Master, was 2 realms higher than Suju, so he was not greatly affected. Not good. When Suju saw this scene, he knew that the opposite side was definitely not the Platinum Realm, this was the rhythm of the Diamond Realm. Seeing this situation, Suju immediately used lightning steps to escape from the battlefield. Because he was too fast and Lan Jun did not arrive in time to issue combat orders, the natal beast did not catch up. This also gave Suju time to breathe, and he summoned Dawang with a wave of his hand. At this time, Lan Jun also recovered from Suju's kick. He also didn't expect that Suju's kick would be so powerful that it knocked him into confusion. Of course, this is also due to the fact that he has experienced too few battles. If he is a person with rich experience in actual combat, he will definitely not behave so badly. Coach Liu couldn't help but shook his head when he saw Suju summoning his natal beast and then looked at Lan Jun on the ring. Sure enough, this realm and actual combat can only go hand in hand. Once you have the realm, actual combat experience will be lower. Lan Jun's actual combat experience is too weak. Suju saw that the other party did not chase him immediately, but instead gave himself time to summon Dawang. At this time, Lan Jun quickly asked his natal beast to chase Suju, while he continued to summon other pet beasts. Suju changed his tactics this time and directly used Prisoner's Finger to interrupt Lan Jun's call. At the same time, he waved his hand and let Dawang rush forward. He used the energy storage explosion again and rushed towards Lan Jun with lightning steps. The interruption time of Yiyang Finger is limited, unlike Shadowless Kick which can interrupt continuously. In addition, summoning other pet beasts is not as fast as the natal beast. When Lan Jun wanted to summon the pet beast again, Suju had already killed him. Lan Jun just has little actual combat experience, which does not mean that he has no actual combat experience. Seeing Suju coming towards him, he immediately ordered his natal beast to defend, and at the same time, he quickly ran to the rear, trying to distance himself from Suju. The Diamond Realm natal beast was indeed very fast and intercepted Suju immediately. Bang! Suju was slapped hard by this diamond-level earth bear. Puff! Even with Suju's physical strength, it was not comfortable to endure such a sudden attack. However, Suju's reaction speed was not comparable to that of Lan Jun. After being hit, he quickly dodged to the side, not giving the Earth Bearer a second chance to take action. At the same time, Dawang bypassed the Earth Bearer and killed directly towards Lan Jun. With its 9-star platinum level strength, it is not much weaker than Lan Jun. Bang! Almost on foot with Su Ju, Lan Jun firmly withstood Dawang's full impact. Compared with Su Ju, Lan Jun's physical body was extremely weak, and he was knocked off the ring with a single impact from Dawang. At the same time, he kept vomiting blood, obviously suffering from serious internal injuries. Lan Jun's natural beast wanted to attack Su Ju, but was stopped by the referee. 9 Imperial Su Ju's level challenge was successful. The team doctor quickly went up to check the injuries of Su Ju and Lan Jun. Su Ju waved his hand and refused the treatment, saying, "It's okay, I can handle it." After hearing Su Ju's words, everyone turned their attention to Lan Jun Mountain again. Just seeing Lan Jun still vomiting blood there, everyone felt ridiculous. Who is the Diamond Realm and who is the Gold Realm? You two must have gotten it wrong. When the team doctor went over to check on Lan Jun, he couldn't help but take a breath. Su Jin's natal beast was so powerful that it actually broke Lan Jun's more than 10 ribs. Not only that, the internal organs have been displaced. If not treated in time, it may be life-threatening. Are these little guys so fierce now? They are so cruel. Su Ju touched Dawang's head and summoned it back again. Referee, I apply to continue the challenge. Coach Liu Yu narrowed his eyes. This Su Ju is not simple. Everyone thought he won the game with that tactic, but they didn't know that his natal beast was actually stronger than himself. But how is this possible? Isn't that a Chinese pastoral dog? How could it grow to a higher level than myself? Also, isn't this Su Ju a first-year freshman? How could a pet beast grow to 9 stars in the Platinum Realm? Treasures from heaven and earth. This is the only result that Coach Liu Yu can think of. Ma Dongshu, you do this. Yes, Ma Dongshu stood up and walked to the ring. He also wanted to take a moment to meet this 9 royal genius. Let's see if he can also kick him away. His physical body is not comparable to that good-for-nothing Lan Jun. Su Ju was not feeling well at the moment. The blow from the diamond-level Earth Bear just now had caused him serious injuries. Seeing another second-year student coming up from the opposite side, Su Ju said nothing and started to use his exercises to heal himself. Ma Dongshu saw that Su Ju was silent, but he didn't want to give him a chance to heal. Junior Su Ju, please take good care of me. Su Ju saw that the other party was so polite and knew that this was not a serious greeting to him. He just wanted to make himself speak and delay the progress of his healing. But even if he knew the other party's purpose, he had to terminate the healing process. Well, let's not talk about advice or anything like that, let's make progress together. Ma Dongshu smiled slightly and stopped talking when he saw Su Ju speaking. Anyway, he had achieved his goal. Anyone with a discerning eye can spot Ma Dongshu's tactics at a glance, but no one can accuse him of such a conspiracy. After all, according to the rules of the game, Ma Dongshu took the initiative to say hello, and no one could say anything. This is a time for mutual communication. The official does not recognize any trash talk sessions, it is all considered as unspoken rules. When the referee saw that Su Ju and Ma Dongshu were ready, he said, "The game begins." Contrary to everyone's expectations, Su Ju did not use the same tactics this time, but instead carried out the summons honestly. But after the battle just now, no one looked down on Su Ju's pet beast. Ma Dongshu was relieved to see Su Ju adopt conventional methods. If it was an upright competition, I wouldn't be afraid of Su Ju. Su Ju waved his hand to summon Dawang, and Dawang rushed out without Su Ju's command. This is the benefit of high loyalty. With just one glance from the owner, the natal animal can understand what the owner means. At this time, Ma Dongshu had just finished summoning his natal beast. When he saw Dawang coming, he immediately let his natal beast intercept him. At this time, Su Ju had summoned Kui Niu and merged with Kui Niu immediately. The diamond-level pet beast had beaten him a bit hard just now, and Su Ju wanted to use this method to heal himself. After merging, a Tauren appeared in the ring and shouted at Ma Dongshu. Moo! Kui Niu's roar spread faster in the air. Ma Dongshu had just summoned the third pet beast at this time. At this moment, Kui Niu's voice came from the air, making Ma Dongshu freeze on the spot. Also standing on the spot was Dawang. Kui Niu Roar was a skill that did not distinguish between friend and foe. As long as you face Kui Niu's roar head-on, you will be stunned. As the master, Suju was naturally immune to the roar of Kui Niu. Seeing Ma Dongshu being stunned, Suju used a charged blast, lightning step and shadowless kick. Bang! Ma Dongshu received this kick firmly and flew directly off the ring. Upon seeing this, the team doctors rushed up to treat him. When they came to Ma Dongshu, they were all shocked by Suju's blow. One of the team doctors quickly used a life-saving technique to save Ma Dongshu's life and avoid death. At this time, Ma Dongshu's chest had completely collapsed, and his internal organs were not displaced, but severely damaged. The referee couldn't help but gasp when he saw this, and at the same time he was glad that no one was killed. Otherwise, if someone loses his life in the game he is hosting, then his responsibility will be huge. After taking a look at the disintegrated Suju, the referee couldn't help but be cautious secretly. It seemed that he had to take action if he felt bad. After the disintegration, Suju's injuries had all recovered. He looked at the referee and said, "I apply to continue the challenge." Zhang Shan was originally worried about Suju's injuries, but when he saw that Suju had fully recovered after disintegration, he couldn't help but nodded slightly. This is the warrior method. Before, it could only be called a warrior, a pure warrior. The principal of Luyu opposite looked at Zhang Shan and said, "Lao Zhang, you are a good apprentice." Zhang Shan had some friendship with the principal of Luyu, and he laughed and said, "These young people don't know where to start. I will educate them well when I go back." "Okay, you and I don't know anymore, but should I say it, your direct disciple is really good. I see the future of the warrior sect in him." The 6th Imperial Principal also came from the warrior school and did not feel that Suju's methods were too cruel. This has always been the case in martial arts battles, and in his opinion, these are routine operations. Zhang Shan smiled slightly and said, "Old Lu, you are really right about this. This kid is indeed not simple. Do you know how many acupoints can be opened?" Hearing what Zhang Shan said, Lu Yuhang also became interested and asked, "How much?" "At least 120. Old Lu, how many acupoints have you opened at the legend level?" Lu Yuhang couldn't help but take a breath when he heard Zhang Shan's words. "Because I come from the warrior school, I have more openings than the average legendary realm, but this is only 110. Now Zhang Shan actually said that he has opened at least 120. Isn't this really outrageous? Zhang Shan said with a proud look on his face. "Don't look at me like this. Really, there are at least 120 acupoints. Just look at it. I feel that this kid can definitely create miracles in the martial arts school." Lu Yuhang set his sights on the ring and wanted to see how far this kid could go. The next battle was not worth watching. Suju never summoned Dawang to fight again, and solved the second grade of Luyu by himself. When the last opponent was defeated, the system's voice sounded in Suju's ears. "Congratulations to the host for completing 100 consecutive victories in the Leapfrog Challenge. As a reward, you will be rewarded with a 3-legged golden crow pet beast egg 1, physical strength plus 50, soul sea area plus 50, and random acupoints open 10. As the system sound ended, Suju felt a pain coming from his body. This was the pain when the acupoints were opened. In the past, Suju would definitely have a painful expression on his face, but now his physical strength has been increased by an unknown amount. The opening of these 10 acupoints has not caused him much pain. When I returned to my seat, the pain had disappeared and was replaced by a warm feeling." Suju took a look at the current attribute map and found that 152 acupoints had been opened. The 10 acupoints opened this time are concentrated on the hands and arms. It seems that if you have the understanding, you should customize a set of palm techniques or boxing techniques. Hao Yun saw Suju coming back and asked with concern, "How are you, is everything okay?" Suju smiled slightly and said, "Don't worry, coach, I'm in good health. I'm fully recovered now." Jia Yunin on the side couldn't help pinching Suju's arm and said, "I don't know how you grow, you are stronger than a platinum level pet." Suju smiled bitterly. What does it mean to be stronger than a platinum level pet beast? His task of sparring with Kui Niu has not been completed yet. Under the same level, he could only last 3 minutes in Kui Niu's hands, which was still the highest record. I don't know if I can last for 5 minutes after my physical strength reaches plus 50 this time. Yu Shuang pulled Jia Yunan aside and said something in her ear. Jia Yunan's face turned red instantly. Su Ju didn't have the intention to care so much, but saw the pet egg in the storage ring. This is the mission reward that the system gave me just now, but now I have not entered the platinum realm and cannot continue to contract with the pet beast. Three-legged golden crow. Su Ju knew that the three-legged golden crow was as famous as the sun before time travel. It was said that the three-legged golden crow lived on the sun. He also doesn't know whether the three-legged golden crow pet beast egg in his hand is different from the three-legged golden crow egg before time travel. It is now the 8th star of the Golden Realm and not far from the 9th star of the Golden Realm. It is estimated that in less than a month, I will be able to enter the Platinum Realm under normal circumstances. Su Ju looked at the pet egg happily while watching the second-grade game. Since Lan Zhan and Ma Dongshu were defeated in succession before, the battle in the second grade went smoothly. Hao Yun looked at the competition on the ring with a lot of emotions in his heart. With Su Ju, the competition would be different. Juyu's points are now ranked first in the inter-school league, which was absolutely unimaginable before. Of course, this is also related to the fact that Juyu did not fight those 3 perverts. If he competed with those 3 schools, his points would definitely be lost. At this moment, Su Ju's phone rang, and it was Zhang Xin calling. Su Ju took the mobile phone and walked to the corner to answer the call. Hey, master, what do you want from me? Zhang Xin's voice soon came from the opposite side, saying, hurry up and return Dawang to me. The leader here still wants to see Dawang's command. Hey, okay, I'll go back right away. Su Ju hung up the phone, spoke to Hao Yun, and hurried back to the 9 regions of the imperial capital. At this time, Juyu Chinese Pastoral Dog Research Center. Kong Hanlin looked at the first batch of Chinese pastoral dogs that had opened their 9 orifices. The more he looked at them, the more extraordinary they became. These are all trained by that dog named Dawang. Zhang Xin did not dare to neglect, nodded and said, Minister, yes, these Chinese pastoral dogs do not need our training at all, Su Ju's rhubarb can command them. Kong Hanlin looked at these Chinese pastoral dogs carefully and asked, why don't they evolve? Zhang Xin replied. Su Ju said that its natal animal told it that it is best to open 36 training acupoints in the form of a Chinese pastoral dog, so that even after evolution, the acupoints will not disappear. Kong Hanlin nodded and said to Han Zhen on the side, we still underestimate the potential of the Chinese garden dog. With 36 acupoints, this is what ordinary SS-level pets are like, right? Han Zhen echoed. Well, yes, it's really good. I used to feel that the Chinese pastoral dogs didn't practice any martial arts, so if they just relied on resources, they wouldn't be able to form an effective combat force. Now it seems that the scale is just around the corner. Principal Zhang Shan naturally got the news of the inspection by the senior leaders, said something to Lu Yuhang and left. When he went back, he took Su Ju with him and rode on Zhang Shan's pet beast all the way. Master, isn't it right? You alerted the big boss so quickly. Zhang Shan didn't even look back and said, you made a bit of a noise this time. This training method for Chinese garden dogs is much better than our training method. Ah, master, what you asked me to say makes me feel like a human is inferior to a dog. Zhang Shan chuckled and said, you were really right about this. People are not as good as dogs. Don't think there is anything wrong. Remember, this is the world of beast control. After the master's reminder, Su Ju instantly realized that this was a world of beast control, a world where humans and pets were equal. Before time travel, humans were inferior to dogs, which would definitely cause discomfort to countless humans. But in the world of animal control, humans and pets are equal, and no one is noble or inferior. Seeing that Su was silent for a long time, Zhang Shan smiled and said, you understand this time, and your Chinese pastoral dog can evolve into a 3-headed dog and an ice wolf. From that moment on, the Chinese pastoral dog's position has changed. Quote, believe it or not, once the training method comes out this time, the potential of the Chinese garden dog will definitely be changed, at least to the S level. Su Ju didn't know much about these things, so he said, but master, our training method is not bad. It can open 36 acupoints, and it also has a set of 36 apertures B-level skill shadowless kick. Zhang Shan chuckled and said, but now the world doesn't know that this is a complete set of exercises. We have only announced the training methods for 9 acupoints. Su Ju saw that there was no one around, only himself and his master. Master, let me tell you something. Zhang Shan heard his apprentice's mysterious words and didn't know what he was going to say. Master, I think we can speed up the announcement of the training method. There is no need to hide it like this. It's not a mistake. When Zhang Shan heard this, he shook his head and said, no, you don't understand. Don't be affected by the Chinese pastoral dog thing. The two are different. Once all our training methods are announced, the impact will be no worse than that of Chinese garden dogs. Because of this, I am worried that we will be targeted by others. What will we do if we have no results in the future? How could Su Ju not be clear about such a thing? But now that there is a 72 aperture training method, the 36 aperture training method is no longer good. Master, I modified the heaven opening technique and turned it into a 72 aperture technique. Shoo! Zhang Shan pulled the reins, causing the pet beast to stop. He turned around and looked at Su Ju in disbelief. What did you say? Su Ju chuckled and said, Master, I said that I now have 72 orifices in the heaven opening technique. Zhang Shan looked Su Ju up and down and said, do you know what the 72 aperture technique means? Seeing the solemn look on Master's face, Su Ju shook his head and said, Master, isn't this just a set of 72 orifices? What's wrong? What's wrong? Zhang Shan had the urge to strangle Su Ju to death and said, what else is wrong with you? He wanted to call you an ignorant guy, but when he thought about it, was this guy really ignorant? Which ignorant person can create the 72 aperture technique? Can you develop that miraculous mind-opening training method? Su Ju looked at Zhang Shan and said, Master, is the 72 aperture technique very rare? Zhang Shan snorted coldly and said, for so many years, the highest technique in the world of beast control is said to be only the 54 aperture technique, and it is only in the hands of the top cultivating families. Do you know what kind of sensation your new 72 aperture technique will cause this time? The entire world of beast control will be rewritten by you. Wait. Zhang Shan suddenly realized something very serious and asked tentatively, don't tell me, you have also figured out this 72 orifice opening training method. Su Ju nodded honestly and said, well, what's wrong? What's up? Zhang Shan looked at his apprentice and really didn't know what to say. Call him ignorant, but this guy can create skills and enlightenment training methods. Call him smart, but he doesn't even understand such a simple truth. Fortunately, he is from the civilian faction and is not a child of Zhang Xin's aristocratic family. Zhang Shan looked at Su Ju seriously and said, boy, who else have you told this matter? Su Ju shook his head and said, Master, I am just simple, it does not mean that I am stupid. Zhang Shan nodded and said, boy, if you don't want to be tightly tied to the family, you'd better not tell Zhang Xin, otherwise you will never be able to leave the Zhang family in your life. Huh, Master, how could you say that? Zhang Shan snorted coldly and said, if Zhang Xin knew about this, he would definitely not let such an outstanding genius like you go. Moreover, this 72 aperture technique will also be the heritage of the Zhang family and will never be publicized. Su Ju was not a fool, and he immediately understood the meaning of Zhang Shan's words. Zhang Shan continued, a few days ago, Zhang Xin asked me for your parents' contact information. You don't have to look at me like this. You're not stupid. You know what she wants to do, right? Su Ju sighed, nodded, and said, well, it's just about Zhang Wenwen. Zhang Shan nodded and said, yes, but I said something to her at that time, and Zhang Xin said that she was just contacting your parents and would not say anything about Zhang Wenwen. But believe me, once Zhang Xin knows that you developed this thing, he will definitely contact your parents, and it will be difficult for you to do anything in the middle. Su Ju nodded, understanding what Zhang Shan said. Even if I don't want to find a girlfriend by then, my mother says Zhang Wenwen is a very good girl. Refuse yourself. It's not impossible to refuse. When the time comes, the female master will get herself a Zhang Shanshan and Zhang Yi. There will always be one that suits you, right? Others didn't know it, but Su Ju knew very well that he had memories of his previous life, and it was really hard for him to refuse his mother's pitiful look. Zhang Shan sighed and said, of course, you have to figure this out for yourself. I can't make the decision for you. In fact, it's not bad to rely on a famous family. You don't have to worry about the cultivation resources. I've seen Zhang Wenwen, too. She looks really good. Su Ju smiled bitterly and said, Master, please stop teasing me, I really don't have this idea now. Zhang Shan smiled and said, so it depends on your choice. There are benefits to joining a famous family, and there are benefits to cultivating alone. Su Ju knew in his heart that it was absolutely impossible for him to join the family. With the system, he had no shortage of training resources. Furthermore, it is useless for me to cultivate resources now. The system does not allow me to use too many heavenly materials and earthly treasures. As for using it on pet animals, that's even more nonsense. Now he only needs to cultivate rhubarb, and Kui Niumingyi doesn't have to worry about it at all. As for the three-legged golden crow that I got today, it is probably another awesome existence, and it will not use my own resources. So this aristocratic family is useful to others, but to myself it's really just the same thing. Su Ju looked at Zhang Shan and said, Master, what about the 36 orifice opening training method and the 36 orifice opening technique? Zhang Shan shook his head and said, this is nothing. Although the 36 aperture technique is rare, it can still be obtained on the market. Su Jui smiled and said, then I will announce the exercises and training methods for the 36 orifices, and when I grow up, I will announce the exercises and training methods for the 72 orifices. Zhang Shan nodded and said, well, this is good, and we can benefit all mankind as soon as possible. Su Ju smiled, whether it benefits all mankind or not, completing the task is the most important thing. Chinese Garden Dog Research Center. Zhang Shan hurried in with Su Ju. Zhang Shan was no stranger to this great leader. Hello, Minister. Kong Hanlin looked at Zhang Shan, looked up and down, nodded with satisfaction, and said, I saw your acupoint training method, it's very good, keep up the good work, and strive to develop more acupoint training methods. Zhang Shan is a real junior in front of this person, and he is the same generation as his master. Minister, I have something to report to you. Oh, tell me. Kong Hanlin also became interested and wanted to see what this boy wanted to say. Zhang Shan said, Minister, my training method has recently made a breakthrough and can now open 18 acupoints. Kong Hanlin's eyes lit up, 18 acupoints were indeed a lot. Ha, double happiness comes to my door, double happiness comes to my door, ha ha ha. Han Zhen, who was next to him, also looked excited. He looked at Zhang Shan and said, Xiao Zhong'er, yes, it's really good. Your mind-opening training method will definitely help countless people. Zhang Shan chuckled and said, 2 ministers, I haven't finished speaking yet. Oh, not to mention how beautiful Kong Hanlin was in his current mood, he thought this boy wanted to negotiate some terms with him. However, if he can figure out the 18-hole training method, it is not impossible to give him some rewards. After all, the credit is not small. Zhang Shan did not give in and said, Minister, I connected these 18 acupoints to form a set of 18 acupoints. What, boy, say it again, I didn't hear you clearly just now. Zhang Shan answered honestly, Minister, I said these 18 orifices are connected to form a set of cultivation techniques. Kong Hanlin looked at Zhang Shan seriously and said, you didn't lie to me. Zhang Shan looked aggrieved and said, Minister, how dare I lie to you? Besides, there is no point in lying to you. Kong Hanlin sent a message, can you tell me the specific route? He asked this because he didn't know that Zhang Shanyu was unwilling to announce it. After all, it is normal for people not to want to publish the exercises that they have worked so hard to research. Zhang Shan did not transmit the message, and said directly, Minister, you also know that I come from the civilian faction, and the purpose of studying this training method and technique is to benefit all beast masters. Kong Hanlin looked at Zhang Shan. At this moment, the image of Zhang Shan in his heart was infinitely higher. Good, really good. Sure enough, the common people's consciousness is very high. Immediately in front of everyone present, Zhang Shan explained the acupoints and operation routes required for this set of exercises. What a coincidence, I have opened all 18 acupoints. Han Zhen on the side said, he didn't hesitate at the moment and started operating according to Zhang Shan's instructions. Kong Hanlin and others all looked at Han Zhen. 10 minutes later, Han Zhen opened his eyes for a week. Well, that's right, Xiaozhong, your set of exercises is okay. Lao Kong, it's not much worse than the ordinary 36 aperture exercises, and it deserves to be vigorously promoted. Kong Hanlin became interested, looked at Han Zhen and said, the effect is so good. Han Zhen nodded with a serious face and said, well, I just ran it for a week. It didn't take a long time, but the effect of the practice is not much worse than the 36 aperture technique. For the public, it is already quite good. Got it. Kong Hanlin looked at Zhang Shan with a different look, and said, tell me what reward you want, I'm sure I won't treat you badly. Zhang Shan chuckled and said, Minister, you're welcome. Do you have any older ginseng? Kong Hanlin looked at Zhang Shan, wondering what the use of the Chow Chow ginseng would be. At this level, wouldn't it be useless for him to ask Chow Chow ginseng? Seeing the minister looking at him, Zhang Shan explained, Minister, I just accepted a disciple, and I haven't given him the greeting gift yet. That's it. Kong Hanlin looked at Su Ju aside and understood instantly. This warrior sect attaches great importance to the succession of masters, and it is normal for Zhang Shan to give gifts to his apprentices. Then he took out a Qingqiao ginseng and said, I'll give this to you. The one that's 30,000 years old is already the tallest here. Zhang Shan happily took it and said, Minister Xie, don't worry, I will try to get the 36-hole technique as soon as possible. Ha ha ha. You, okay. I'll wait for you. Ha ha ha. Kong Hanlin was in an extremely good mood today. As for what Zhang Shan said, he didn't take it to heart. Is it true that the 36 orifice exercises can be studied through research? Zhang Shan chuckled and said, don't worry, Minister, I already have some clues. Kong Hanlin looked at Zhang Shan, but he didn't expect that this kid was not talking nonsense. Okay, Zhang Shan, if you can really develop the 36 aperture technique, your name will be left in the history books of the beast-controlling world. The minister is overly praised. Well, I think you don't need to be the principal anymore. It's too distracting. From now on, you can just concentrate on studying this training method and the exercises. If you have any difficulties, just ask, and we will fully cooperate with you. Zhang Shan quickly said. That's what the minister said. Kong Hanlin nodded and said, don't think that I have taken away your power. Do you have anyone to recommend? Zhang Shan smiled slightly and said, the minister is joking. I am really not suitable for being a principal because I am a murderer. However, my eldest disciple Chen Baichuan has been teaching in the imperial capital Sanyu for many years. Before Zhang Shan finished speaking, Kong Hanlin said, okay, this matter is settled, let Chen Baichuan come to Juyu as the principal. Zhang Shan hurriedly said, then I'll thank the minister for Baichuan. Kong Hanlin patted Zhang Shan on the shoulder and said, Xiaozhong, your set of exercises and training methods are so important to our Dragon Kingdom. If you can really develop the 36 aperture exercises and training methods, this is the Minister of Education. I'll leave it to you and I won't have any complaints. Minister, how can I be this good? Listening to the conversation between Zhang Shan and Kong Hanlin, Su Ju couldn't help but feel happy and handed over this training method to his master. Otherwise, I might be the one trapped in Juyu now. After all, the master is still a 9-star expert in the legendary realm. But even so, he is still trapped in Juyu, not to mention his little Kurami. Zhang Xin looked at Zhang Shan quietly from the side, but what she was thinking about was whether there was an unmarried woman in the family who was similar to Zhang Shan's age. Anyone who can develop such exercises and training methods is definitely a genius. You must seize this opportunity firmly. Zhang Shan should be about 330 years old, a 9-star legend, and there don't seem to be many unmarried women in the family at this age. After thinking about it, Zhang Xin's face turned slightly red, feeling that she was really crazy for having this idea. Just because she thought about it, the woman from the Zhang family who was worthy of the throne finally found out that it was herself. Isn't this nonsense? I had finally tricked my fiancé to death so that I could be free now. I would be crazy to get into this situation again. But Zhang Shan was indeed a talented person, and she was a little unwilling to see the talent drained away like this. Looking up and down Zhang Shan, I found that this guy was about 5 to 6 in height, so he wasn't exactly ugly. It's just that his realm is a bit low, he's only 9 stars in the legendary realm, but he's in the title realm, so he's not worthy of him. But what matters now is not his cultivation, but his talent. His talent can completely make up for the shortcomings in his cultivation. Could it be that he really has to sacrifice something to help the Zhang family? Looking at Zhongshan again, I feel that it is not impossible to sacrifice myself. Well, it's all for the family. Zhongshan accidentally saw Zhongshan's fiery gaze, which made his heart skip a beat. That fiery look in his eyes made Zhongshan panic. Could this woman be planning to attack him? Sister, I still remember how you tricked your fiancé to death. I was also there, okay. Master Poison Rose, let's talk carefully if we have anything to say. Kong Hanlin encouraged Zhongshan, and then set his sights on Zhongshan. The meaning was obvious. Zhongshan quickly said to Kong Hanlin, Minister, this is also my apprentice, Su Ju. Kong Hanlin looked at Zhongshan, then at Zhongshan, and finally focused on Su Ju. Well, it turns out that a hero is born in a young boy. Being noticed by 2 masters proves that you are extraordinary. Su Ju replied honestly, the minister is overly praised, I'm just lucky. Kong Hanlin chuckled and said, I heard from Zhongshan that your Chinese pastoral dog can command other Chinese pastoral dogs. Su Ju had already thought about what to say when he came, so he wasn't too flustered at this time. Minister, my Chinese garden dog is not the only one who can command other Chinese garden dogs. Among any pet animals, high-level pets have absolute command rights over low-level pets. Kong Hanlin nodded, looked at Su Ju and said, then can I take a look at your Chinese pastoral dog? Su Ju waved his hand and summoned Dawang. Kong Hanlin squatted down and looked at Dawang carefully, and found that it was an ordinary Chinese pastoral dog. The difference is that Dawang is a platinum level 9-star Chinese pastoral dog. Kong Hanlin confirmed this the moment he saw Dawang. Dawang was a little embarrassed when Kong Hanlin looked at him, wagging his tail uneasily. Su Ju quickly comforted Dawang, which made Dawang calm down a little. Kong Hanlin stood up, looked at Su Ju and said, you are not a simple dog. It is rare to grow to 9 stars in the platinum realm so quickly. Su Ju answered honestly, Minister, my rhubarb can grow so fast only because it has eaten 10,000 years of red fruit. With Kong Hanlin's eyesight, he could naturally see how rhubarb was improved at a glance, so he was not surprised. Looking at Su Ju, he said, I heard from your master that you modified the spiritual contract and let the natal beast improve the natal beasts, and you improve your own. What's going on? Su Ju did not hide anything, and said, I heard that relying on the natal beast to improve is not the right way, but a crooked way. If you want to break through the title realm, you need to practice on your own, so that you can break through the title realm. Everyone present couldn't help but focus on Su Ju. Zhongshan scolded. Don't talk nonsense, minister, children are ignorant, don't mind. Zhongshan also said, Xiaoju, don't listen to the wind or the rain. This is all nonsense. How can you take it seriously? Kong Hanlin waved his hands indifferently and said, as expected, he belongs to the warrior school, but what you said is not unreasonable. Not to mention that this matter has been confirmed now, it's almost done. Okay, let me see how your rhubarb commands other Chinese pastoral dogs. Hiss. What Kong Hanlin said seems to have confirmed something. But no one present was qualified to ask. Su Ju stopped continuing the topic and said to Dawang, Dawang, it's your turn to perform. Dawang got the order and barked at the dogs. Then the group of dogs, which were still a little noisy at first, immediately stood up in the order that Dawang had arranged before, like soldiers waiting for review. Kong Hanlin couldn't help but narrowed his eyes when he saw this scene. What a terrifying ability to move, and to enforce orders and prohibitions. Isn't this exactly what the army needs? Woof! Dawang shouted, and then these Chinese garden dogs began to train according to the method Dawang taught them before. Kong Hanlin watched the training on the field. Although he didn't know what the mystery was, he saw Dawang's absolute dominance over the dogs. Su Ju, let me ask you something. Su Ju did not dare to neglect and said, Minister, please ask. Well, do these dogs only listen to your rhubarb, or can other high-level Chinese pastoral dogs also command them? Su Ju answered honestly, Minister, there are 50 of them that I wrote out with my own blood. Due to the loyal characteristics of Chinese pastoral dogs, these dogs will obey my orders as soon as they come out. The orders I gave them at that time were to obey Da Wang's orders, so they would faithfully carry out Da Wang's orders. Of course, I can also command them, but since there is no spiritual contract, it will be a bit troublesome to command them. Kong Hanlin looked at the dogs in the field and said, "What about the rest?" Su Ju smiled slightly and explained, "Minister, this is the latest research result of our research center. I asked Senior Sister Wenwen and Master to open 50 Chinese pastoral dogs each. After Senior Sister Wenwen's Chinese pastoral dogs were bred out, they were told to obey Da Huang, but Masters did not give such an order. Then after a period of training, I found that although Master's Chinese garden dogs will obey Da Wang's arrangements, they cannot obey orders and prohibitions. And Senior Sister Wenwen's Chinese pastoral dog is exactly the same as my own, and it completely obeys Da Wang's command." After hearing this, Kong Hanlin couldn't help but nodded, and asked, "So these Chinese pastoral dogs can not only obey the command of Da Wang, but also the command of their master?" Su Ju shook his head and said, "Minister, please listen to what I have to say." After that, Master ordered his Chinese garden dogs to listen to Da Wang, so Da Wang has the right to command them. From this experiment, our research institute has concluded that the first command authority of Chinese garden dogs is the owner. Only with the owner's consent will they obey other people's orders. After hearing this, Kong Hanlin became even more satisfied with the Chinese garden dog. Only in terms of loyalty, it was far ahead of other pet animals. After all, no one wants their pet to obey the orders of others, so is it still their own pet? Zhang Xin saw Su Ju chatting with Kong Hanlin there and had no intention of disturbing him. He looked back at Zhang Wenwen, who was not far away. The meaning was obvious. "Look at the man your aunt picked for you. Isn't he good?" Zhang Wenwen naturally understood what her sister-in-law meant. Her face was slightly rosy, but she nodded. Su Ju's performance today is indeed remarkable. There are few people who can speak like this in front of the Minister of Education, but few can do it so naturally. After listening to Su Ju's explanation, Kong Hanlin couldn't help but nodded and said, "Well, your research is very meaningful. By the way, I heard that your rhubarb belongs to the Chinese pastoral dog training method." Su Ju did not hide anything and said, "Yes, Minister, according to my Da Wang, it does know the training methods of the Chinese pastoral dog. But if you ask me what's going on specifically, I don't know. I guess rhubarb is a rather special existence among Chinese garden dogs." Kong Hanlin didn't think anything wrong with Su Ju's words. This kind of inheritance was only in the blood, and even he couldn't explain why. Human beings do not have their own cultivation methods. The current cultivation methods are still imitating these pet beasts. Kong Hanlin continued to ask, "I heard from your master that your Da Huang knows the 36 aperture technique." Just as Su Ju was about to answer, he heard the system's voice ringing in his ears. "Task: announce the training methods of the Chinese pastoral dog with at least 72 orifices, and reward Grand Master Blacksmithing Technique 1, Physical Strength plus 50, Soul C Area plus 50. Grand Master Blacksmithing Technique." After hearing the system's words, Su Ju already made a decision in his heart. Su Ju nodded and said to Kong Hanlin, "My Da Wang did tell me that, but it means it is now 36 orifices. As for whether it will unlock an upgrade in the future, it doesn't know yet." Hiss. Hearing what Su Ju said, everyone present couldn't help but take a breath of cold air at the same time. 36 orifices is already very abnormal. If you get more than 45 orifices, it will be incredible. "Real." Su Ju nodded and said, "Minister, I don't know the details, but that's what Da Wang said anyway." Zhang Shan couldn't help but sigh when he heard this. This kid is so confused. "I'm trying my best to help you get out of the prison, why are you still thinking about jumping in?" "Well, young, too young." Chapter 91. Su Ju naturally understood the reason behind this, but the great master level forging technique was so fragrant that he couldn't help but be tempted. If it were a master level blacksmithing technique, Su Ju wouldn't be so tempted, but if it were a master level blacksmithing technique, Su Ju wouldn't even be tempted. Kong Hanlin patted Su Ju on the shoulder and said, "Well, not bad, not bad, young people nowadays are really getting better and better." Su Ju, right, if you really have the 72 whole Chinese pastoral dog technique, you will be successful. What a great achievement. Suju smiled shyly and said, the minister is overly complimentary. This is all the result of my rhubarb, not my research. No, this is your credit. Okay, this matter is settled. After Kong Hanlin finished speaking, he turned to Zhang Xin and said, this research center is of great strategic value. People from the military department will come to visit in 2 days. You must be prepared. Yes. Under the leadership of Zhang Xin, Kong Hanlin left after visiting other projects of the research center. Seeing Kong Hanlin leave, Zhang Shan pulled Suju aside and said, Xiaoju, you are confused. Suju shook his head and said, Master, there is nothing stupid. This matter will be announced sooner or later. I don't want this kind of skill to be buried. Zhang Shan sighed and said, okay, you have your own ideas, and I won't interfere too much. There are pros and cons to this matter, and it's not entirely a bad thing. Suju smiled slightly and said, Master, in fact, all our worries are because we are afraid of affecting our personal cultivation, not because we don't want to spread the word, right? Zhang Shan nodded and said, well, you are right. In fact, if it does not affect your personal practice, I still agree with you to do more research. After all, Zhang Shan himself came from the civilian sect, and he also hoped that Suju could study more skills. Suju left Da Huang here and prepared to leave with Zhang Shan. How could Zhang Xin let him go and said, Xiaoju, please wait for a while, I have something to explain here. Zhang Shan gave Suju a helpless look and left the research center alone. I still have to inform the eldest apprentice. From now on, the school affairs will be left to the eldest apprentice, and I can enjoy peace and happiness. Zhang Xin called Suju over and said, did you hear what the minister just said? Suju nodded quickly, not knowing what the female master was going to say. Zhang Xin nodded and continued, well, then you stay here and train these Chinese pastoral dogs well. There is no need to go back to the villa. Wenwen, clean up a room for Suju, and he will live here from now on. No, master, do you want me to live here? Suju looked at Zhang Xin in surprise. Zhang Xin nodded and said, well, everything here is confidential. You are a member of the research center now. It is not appropriate to go back to the previous villa. Not suitable. Suju really wanted to say that it was inappropriate for him to stay on this road, right? Without giving him a chance to refute, Zhang Xin said, well, that's it, Wenwen, hurry up and clean up Suju's room. Zhang Wenwen responded, turned around and left here. Seeing Zhang Wenwen leaving, Zhang Xin patted Suju on the shoulder and said, don't worry about living here. Everything is available here, you don't need to prepare anything. If there is another place, you and Wenwen will live here, and nothing inconvenient. Depend on, isn't it? Suju glanced at the master helplessly and said to himself that it was only Zhang Wenwen who lived here that made him feel inconvenient. Zhang Xin ignored Suju's look and said, okay, let's help Wenwen clean up her room. If you need anything, just apply to her directly. Suju sighed, but didn't say much. Walking a few steps quickly to follow Zhang Wenwen sensed that Suju was following her, turned around and said, do you prefer a room with a sunrise or a room without a sunrise? Suju shrugged and said, it doesn't matter. Zhang Wenwen smiled sweetly and said, then I will arrange for you to go to Chaoyang's room, where you can see the training ground by opening the window. Yes, Sister Wenwen arranged it. Zhang Wenwen didn't care about Suju's title. Anyway, now that he was living in the research center, he would have many opportunities to get to know him in the future. Suju looked at Zhang Wenwen walking in front, and suddenly felt that this girl was not bad. He has a good figure, looks good, and has a good temper. In my 2 lifetimes, I have never been in love. But as soon as this idea came up, Suju suppressed it with his ghost-seeing worry. Sure enough, when Suju was in a desireless state, looking at Zhang Wenwen was no different from looking at Kui Niu. After following Zhang Wenwen to clean up the room for a while, Zhang Wenwen kicked her out. You can go do other things, I can just clean up here. Suju touched his nose in embarrassment. It seemed that he could not solve anything except add trouble here. I went downstairs and summoned Kui Niu. Today I completed 100 consecutive victories and my strength increased again. Suju wanted to see how long he could last in Kui Niu's hands this time. He summoned Kui Niu with a wave of his hand and said, Kui Niu, fire at me. Moo. Then Suju fell into a dizzy state, and then his body hurt and he was kicked away by Kui Niu. Suju recovered from his dizziness, and was just about to use prisoner's finger, when he felt Kui Niu's sound blade attack. Puff, puff, moo. Then Suju entered a dazed state again, and without giving him any chance to counterattack, Kui Niu kicked him again. The benefit of having his physical strength plus 50 again was reflected at this time. Suju didn't feel like he couldn't hold on even after being attacked continuously. When the dizziness ended, Suju attacked Kui Niu again, and just halfway through, he was dazed again. Zhang Wenwen had already tidied up the room at this time and was about to ask Suju to come up and see if there was anything she was dissatisfied with. Then he saw Suju being brutally tortured by his pet beast, kicking him one after another, leaving Suju bruised and swollen. But even so, once Suju is out of the dazed state, he will attack Kui Niu. Zhang Wenwen stood on the balcony, watching Suju fighting Kui Niu downstairs, and felt that Suju's physical strength was frightening. Also, his cow was perverted enough that even the platinum level 9-star pet beast could not cause much harm to Suju. But this ugly bull who was in the same realm as Suju suppressed Suju and gave him no chance to fight back. Suju relied on perseverance to last for 10 minutes. When the 10 minutes are up, he immediately merges with Kui Niu. After running the technique for a while, the merged state is released. Zhang Wenwen, who had already gone downstairs to help Suju deal with his injury, found that he had dealt with a lonely person. After the disintegration is completed, the injuries have been completely recovered, and there is no need to treat them at all. Ajiu, what's wrong with your injury? Can you just get better on your own? Suju smiled slightly and said, well, I don't know what's going on. During the previous competition, I discovered that after merging with Kui Niu, no matter how many injuries you suffered before, you will be restored to your original state as soon as you disintegrate. Zhang Wenwen had never encountered such a thing before, and pressed Suju's arm curiously. Suju felt like he was being taken advantage of. This senior sister Zhang Wenwen had evil intentions towards him. From then on, the two of them lived together in the research center, and Suju felt that he needed to be more cautious. Boy, when you go out, you must learn to protect yourself. Zhang Wenwen was amazed. These muscles felt so sensational to the touch. Zhang Xin had been paying attention to the two people. Seeing Zhang Wenwen get started so quickly, she couldn't help but nodded with satisfaction. Girls should take the initiative and learn to fight for the right one when they meet. Now that the conditions have been created for you, it's up to you whether you can grasp them or not. Suju waited for a while, and after his soul power was completely restored, he said to Kui Niu again, come again. After receiving Suju's order, Kui Niu rushed over again, and the previous scene happened again. Zhang Wenwen didn't know what kind of training method this was. Could it be that Suju was physically strong and was beaten out like this? With his previous experience, Suju was confident that he could withstand Kui Niu's 10-minute attack this time. Moo, bang. After a series of attacks, Suju had no ability to fight back, and was beaten until his nose was bruised and his face was swollen again. Then when 10 minutes were up, Suju healed his wounds again and restored his soul power. Zhang Wenwen was already sure at this time that this should be Suju's unique beating training method. She found that after several consecutive beatings, Suju's ability to take beatings did not improve much, but he was able to take action to protect himself when he was awake. Although he still couldn't avoid being beaten, he could already reduce the severity of the injury. Zhang Xin stood on the balcony, watching the sparring between Suju and Kui Niu, and also sighed with emotion. Suju's current physical strength was not achieved by relying on heavenly materials and earthly treasures, but by being beaten bit by bit. After the 10th training session, the system's voice finally sounded in Suju's ears. Congratulations to the host for completing 10 full-strength sparring sessions with Kui Niu, gaining physical strength plus 3.0, and Iron Cloth Shirt 1. Then Suju felt that his physical body had improved again, and the skill called Iron Cloth Shirt also appeared in his skill bar. Iron Shirt. Grade A. Category: Passive Skills. Introduction. Increase physical defense by 20%. Very simple introduction. The skill level is not very high, but it is a very practical skill. The physical strength increased by 30 points, and the physical defense increased by another 20%, making Suju's self-confidence swell again. After recovering his soul power, he said to Kui Niu, "Come again." Zhang Wenwen saw that Suju was training so hard and wanted to persuade him, but Suju acted very quickly and did not give her a chance to persuade him. Moo! Bang! He was still stunned by Kui Niu and withstood Kui Niu's kick. The difference is that the time of being stunned this time is very short. The dizzy state was originally 3 seconds, but now it can only stun Suju for 2 seconds. Moreover, Suju's attack from Kui Niu did not cause the same injuries as before. It definitely still hurt, but it was not as painful as before. Suju woke up and kicked Kui Niu in the face immediately. Bang! A terrifying gas explosion sounded between the man and the cow, knocking the man and the cow back 2 or 3 meters. Suju seized the opportunity and used a combination of charged explosion, lightning step and shadowless kick to directly kick Kui Niu. Bang! Kui Niu was kicked and moved back 2 or 3 meters again. When it wanted to roar with Kui Niu, Suju used shadowless kick again to interrupt its skill. After seizing the opportunity, Suju began to use the shadowless kick to attack Kui Niu continuously, not giving it a chance to use Kui Niu roar. Seeing this, Kui Niu could only defend passively, and kept retreating after being kicked. When Zhang Wenwen saw this scene, she couldn't help but cover her mouth in shock. This Suju was completely tortured by Kui Niu half an hour ago. Now he can suppress Kui Niu and beat him. Isn't this growth too fast? Zhang Xin also had the same idea. She also witnessed the whole process of Suju going from being passively beaten to actively attacking. But how is this possible? Kui Niu was no match just now, but now he can fight back. Suju became happier the more he fought. He had been abused by Kui Niu these days and finally had a chance to resist. Moo! Kui Niu roared with difficulty, barely knocking Suju unconscious. But when Suju woke up, he immediately seized the opportunity to launch another crazy attack. Kui Niu was beaten again and retreated, no longer able to fight back. It's just that even if Kui Niu was beaten passively, his ability to withstand beatings was stronger than that of Suju. He was kicked more than a dozen times in a row and nothing happened. Just when Suju was attacking wantonly, Kui Niu sent a message to Suju. "Master, my war trample has awakened, do you want to give it a try?" Give it a try. Suju was quite confident in his current physical body and said, "Herd the cows here." Moo! Kui Niu barked and immediately used war trample. Suju also kicked out with a shadowless kick, which collided with Kui Niu's war stamp. Puff! Suju was instantly kicked away by this kick. At the same time, he spurted out blood, and he immediately passed out. Moo! You asked me to kick, don't blame me. Zhang Wenwen saw this scene and wanted to stop Suju, but the huge inertia prevented her from stopping him. This shows how powerful Kui Niu's kick is. Zhang Xin raised her hand, stopped Suju, and disappeared in a flash. When she reappeared, she was already at Suju's side. Xiao Zhuor! Xiao Zhuor! Zhang Xin shouted twice and saw that Suju's life was weakening very quickly. This kick might kill him. He quickly took out a healing pill and gave it to Suju to swallow. At the same time, he used his soul power to refine the healing pill for him. As the healing pill was taken, Suju's injury finally improved. Seeing this, Zhang Wenwen summoned her natal beast, the Flower Fairy, with a wave of her hand, and continued to treat Suju. Flower Fairy waved the staff in her hand, and a halo of energy fell on Suju. After 10 minutes, Suju slowly opened his eyes. Just as he was about to speak, he opened his mouth and spit out a mouthful of blood. After calming down for a while, Suju felt much better. He waved to Kui Niu, and Kui Niu ran over. Suju used his little soul power to merge with Kui Niu again. This was the fastest way to heal his wounds that he could think of. After merging with Kui Niu, Suju finally breathed a sigh of relief. Sure enough, the ancient mythical beast was the ancient mythical beast. He thought his physical body was very powerful, but he almost died after trying it. Thank you, Master, thank you, Sister Wenwen. If it weren't for you this time, I might really be kicked to death by a cow. Zhang Xin saw the Tauren talking and scolded. How can you, a beast master, fight with your pet beast physically? Fortunately, I am here this time, otherwise you would probably be kicked to death by your own pet beast. Suju looked embarrassed. He was actually a little reckless about today's matter. That master, I will pay attention next time, pay attention next time. Next time, Zhongshin said angrily. Do you know how dangerous this time is? Your life was almost lost. Suju chuckled and said, Master, I didn't expect my cow to be so powerful. It said it had understood a skill and asked me if I wanted to try it. I thought about how strong my physical body is now, and it's not like I've never been kicked by a cow's hooves before, but I didn't expect that this time the old cow's skill was so powerful that it almost kicked me to death. Zhongshin looked at Suju with some curiosity in her heart and said, What kind of skill is this of yours? How can it be so powerful? Suju chuckled and didn't hide anything. He said, It's better than SSS quality skills. It's my Kui Niu's innate skill. More powerful than SSS level. Zhongshin looked at Suju in shock and said, Tell me the truth, what kind of cow are you? How can you have skills more powerful than SSS quality? Suju thought for a moment and felt that if Zhongshin was not here today, he might really be here. Ancient Divine Beast, RRR level Kui Niu. Ancient Mythical Beast. Zhongshin shook her head and said that she had never heard of this term at all. He looked at Suju and said, Come on, attack me, and use that kick. Suju nodded, no nonsense, and gave Zhongshin a war trample. Bang! Terrifying waves of air rose around Zhongshin and swayed in all directions. Zhong Wenwen was instantly pushed 10 meters away by this air wave, which shows how powerful this kick is. Zhongshin looked at Suju in shock and said, How is this possible? Suju looked at Zhongshin and asked, Master, what's wrong with this skill? Zhongshin looked at Suju and said, This attack of yours already has the power of the middle stage of Star Glory Realm, but how is this possible? Middle stage of Star Glory Realm. Zhong Wenwen on the side heard her sister-in-law's words and was so shocked that she couldn't close her mouth from ear to ear. Suju's pet beast only has 8 stars in the Golden Realm. Even if it has 9 stars, it still can't have the power of the Middle Star Glory Realm. This crosses the 2 realms of Platinum and Diamond. Suju only knew that this blow was powerful, but he didn't know how powerful it was. Fortunately, Master, you said so, otherwise if I had kicked him like this in the Inter-School League, I would have died. Zhongshin nodded and said, Even the Diamond Realm may not be able to withstand your blow. There is a high probability that you will be kicked to death. Suju was afraid after hearing this for a while, not because he was afraid of killing people, but because he was in the Golden Realm now. Kui Niu's kick could kill even the Diamond Realm. It can only be said that he was lucky to be able to survive. Zhongshin looked at Suju and continued, Do you know how dangerous it was just this time? Don't make such an attempt next time. If you are really kicked to death by your pet beast, it will be great fun. Master said so. Suju was indeed a little scared this time. He just felt that he was seriously injured, but he didn't feel scared. Now when I heard the master say that this kick has the power of the middle stage of Star Glory Realm, cold sweat started to flow down in an instant. When Zhongshin saw that Suju was scared, she stopped talking and said, Disassemble it and take a look. How are the injuries? Suju obeyed and quickly disintegrated, and then discovered that Bai Tri Bai Ling's combined healing method also failed this time. Although the injury was better after disintegration, it was still difficult to stand up. Zhongshin snorted and said, You know how powerful this time is. Wenwen takes good care of Suju. I'll go back first. Suju wanted to say no, he didn't need to take care of him, but now it was difficult for him to stand up and walk, so he didn't say anything. Zhong Wenwen nodded and waved her hand to summon her natal beast, the Flower Fairy. All I saw was that the Flower Fairy stretched out a few branches and turned into arms to hug Suju. Then under Zhong Wenwen's command, he took Suju back to his room. Junior brother, don't do this next time. You really think you are a humanoid beast? Look at this injury. It's too dangerous. Suju laughed twice and said, Sister Wenwen is right, but this time it's not that my Kui Niu's attack is too strong, it's that my body is too weak. If I were stronger, I wouldn't be so seriously injured. Zhong Wenwen was speechless. She really didn't know what he was thinking. He stretched out his hand to check on Suju, wiped some oil on it, and said, I'll let my Flower Fairy help you treat it. Don't move around. Suju wanted to say, as long as you don't move, I will definitely not move. Flower Fairy waved her staff and continued to treat Suju. Suju felt warm all over his body. Although the injury could not be improved instantly, at least there was no pain like before. Just enjoying Hua Shanzi's treatment without moving, Suju fell asleep comfortably. Seeing Suju asleep, Zhang Wenwen looked at Suju's face carefully. He's not very handsome, but he's definitely not ugly, he's above average. Although his cultivation level is a bit low, it doesn't matter. With the resources of the Zhang family, he can quickly improve it. The most important thing is that this guy's potential is indeed much better than that of ordinary people from aristocratic families. Especially with this physical strength, my boyfriend will definitely be extremely powerful in the future. Thinking of this, Zhang Wenwen's face turned slightly red, but seeing Suju asleep, her eyes couldn't help but fall on Suju's chest. Looking around, I realized that I was the only one here. It was really inappropriate for me, a man and a woman alone, not to do something by myself. He stretched out his hand and pressed on Suju's arm. Seeing that Suju didn't respond, he became bolder. Give the order to Flower Fairy to speed up the use of healing techniques and use sleep techniques at the same time. This sleep technique does not cause any harm. It is a branch of the treatment technique and can play a role in auxiliary treatment. It is precisely because of this that the person being cast will not have any offensive reaction but will feel very comfortable. Zhang Wenwen saw that Suju's breathing gradually became more even, and she became bolder. Putting your face against Suju's chest, you can hear his strong heartbeat. Zhang Wenwen just touched her gently and left, without doing anything else out of the ordinary. Seeing Suju sleeping soundly, he ended his treatment and left Suju's bedroom. When Zhang Wenwen left, Gui Zhancho looked at Zhang Wenwen and then at Suju. I feel like it's better not to tell the owner about this matter. Maybe it's a special healing method for humans, right? It's a pity that my level is too low now, otherwise I would have unlocked raw skills, and this injury would be nothing at all. Suju had a very comfortable sleep. After traveling through time, he either meditated or performed exercises at night, and slept very rarely. When I opened my eyes, I saw Zhang Wenwen's beautiful face. From this angle, she still had a little baby fat, which was quite cute. How could he have such thoughts? Suju quickly used the Wuyu skill to suppress the throbbing just now. Junior brother, you're awake. How do you feel? Suju quickly checked his current body and found that after one night, he was mostly healed. At least now I have no problem walking normally. Thank you, Sister Wenwen, for taking care of me. I'm almost healed. Zhang Wenwen smiled slightly, picked up a dinner plate from behind and said, how do you like the breakfast I prepared for you? Suju didn't think too much. He took 2 bites after bringing it over and found it tasted pretty good. Yeah, delicious. When Zhang Wenwen heard Suju's words, her eyes curved into the shape of crescents and said, it's fine if you think it tastes good. I made it specially for you. Suju raised his head and glanced at Zhang Wenwen, without saying anything, and continued to eat the breakfast in his hand. Then continue to use the desire-free skill to let the little ripples in your heart return to calm again. Seeing this scene, Zhang Wenwen couldn't help but nodded, sighing that her efforts were not in vain. My sister-in-law is right, it is indeed difficult to find such a man, so you have to make sure of it. Suju is not a fool. Even if he uses the Wuyu skill, it doesn't mean that he really doesn't know Zhang Wenwen's thoughts. Sister Wenwen, you don't want to eat. Zhang Wenwen smiled slightly and said, I have eaten, please eat slowly. Seeing Suju finish breakfast, Zhang Wenwen took the plate and left. Suju went to the bathroom to wash up. He didn't know how much advantage he had taken advantage of yesterday. Well, it's really not safe for boys to be outside. Sensing Suju's thoughts, Gui Zhancho quickly said, Master, you fell asleep yesterday, but I didn't. I know what every woman did. After hearing Gui Zhancho's message, Suju realized that he still had a pet beast outside. Master, the woman yesterday. Okay, I don't want to hear it. Suju quickly stopped Gui Zhancho's words, not wanting reality to break his good feelings for Zhang Wenwen. At the same time, I couldn't help but have random thoughts in my mind. Who could guarantee that Zhang Wenwen would not become interested in seeing her alone last night? Feeling Suju's thoughts, Wei Jianqiu sighed. It really wants to say, Master, you are overthinking and you really won't get pregnant. It's not that outrageous. Although I am just a turtle, I still have some understanding of human beings. After washing up, the phone rang. I picked up the phone and took a look. It was the principal and master. Xiaoju, this girl Wenwen is quite good, you have to hold on to her. Suju was stunned when he heard this. His master had said before that if he was with Zhang Wenwen, he would be tied to the Zhang family. Why did he suddenly change his mind and persuade himself to be with Zhang Wenwen? Master, you know that my goal is the stars and the sea, this is not my ambition. Zhang Shan laughed and said, what you said is wrong. The sea of stars is not inconsistent with marrying a wife and having children. After marrying a wife and having children, you can't be a sea of stars. Suju didn't know what happened to Master today, but he still said, Master, women will affect the speed of my cultivation. Hey, Xiaoju, have you ever heard of a saying that a man and a woman can work together without getting tired? How can a woman affect your cultivation speed? Suju was about to say something else when he heard Zhang Shan's words. Xiaoju, I saw that Zhang Wenwen. She is not a troubled woman. Women from big families are so good. They know very well what they should and shouldn't do. Suju didn't want to continue this topic and said, well, we'll talk about this later, Master. That's why you called me to talk about this. How could it be? I saw you didn't come back yesterday. Don't forget that the 30,000-year-old ginseng is still in my hand. I was thinking of coming over to get it. Suju was really not in a hurry. After all, the cooling period had not passed yet, and it would take another week before he could continue taking tea inside a bao. Master, don't worry, I suffered some injuries yesterday. I'll pick them up after I recover. Well, it's up to you. I'll give up on that job. Goodbye, Master. Zhang Shan hung up the phone, looked at Zhang Xin and said, Sister, how am I doing? Zhang Xin nodded with satisfaction and said, don't worry, I watched that girl Wenwen grow up. Suju is not only your apprentice, but also my apprentice. Can I still trick him? Zhang Shan had a wry smile on his face. It was indeed a bad feeling to be threatened. But facing the threat of Master Poison Rose, even Zhang Shan did not dare to complain. I know a lot about this person's dark history. Because of this, I dare not offend him even more. Zhang Xin continued, do you mind showing me your training method? Zhang Shan shook his head and said, these were originally meant to be announced, so it's not impossible to show them to you. Zhang Xin took the training method handed over by Zhang Shan and found that there was also a route map of the 18 orifices on it. Zhang Xin, who was born in the martial arts school, has a strong interest in these and doesn't want to leave when he sees them. This is very painful for the country. This person puts too much pressure on me, but I don't dare to drive this person away and I can only stay with him. Go, get me a glass of water. Hey, right away. Without saying anything, Zhang Shan turned around and poured a glass of boiled water for Zhang Xin. He did not dare to offend this young lady. Seeing Zhang Shan being so obedient, Zhang Xin was very satisfied and said, behave well. If I am happy, I will give you a chance to pursue me. Zhang Shan wanted to say no, but he knew better what would happen to him as soon as he said these words. How long? It's not that your master doesn't want to help you, it's actually that your master can't protect himself. Suju did a little exercise on the playground and felt that his injury was almost healed. Then today's training mission began. Zhang Wenwen saw Suju entering training again, and couldn't help but sigh that this guy has such strength, and hard work accounts for the majority. Suju looked at Zhang Wenwen, who was watching his training with his chin in his hands. There is a scene where the boyfriend in his previous life was playing basketball and his girlfriend was watching the game. When I was disabled in both legs, I always felt that such scenes were particularly warm and envious. I never thought that after traveling through time, someone would watch me train like this. Zhang Wenwen took care of herself and healed herself. Suju just had a slight flutter and was suppressed. Making breakfast for himself in the morning and watching himself eating, Suju suppressed him again. But at this moment, the scene from countless dreams in his previous life appeared, finally touching the depths of Suju's soul. This time he did not use Wuyu again, but continued training according to the inherent rhythm. In this way, Su Ju trained for an hour, and Zhang Wenwen watched him for an hour. Su Ju ended today's training, turned around and looked at Zhang Wenwen, and said, "Don't you need to practice?" Zhang Wenwen smiled sweetly and said, "I am not a warrior, my pet beast takes me to upgrade." Oh, Su Ju thought of something and said, "But this is not good. I didn't hear what the minister said yesterday, that such a realm is vain. If you want to break through the tidal realm, you have to practice on your own for only a few weeks." Zhang Wenwen chuckled, looked at Su Ju and said, "That's the truth, but I also have to be able to enter the 9 stars of the tidal realm. If I can't even enter the tidal realm, then the realm will be vain." Ah, that makes sense. Su Ju also laughed, feeling that he had indeed thought too much. Not everyone has a system and hopes to break through the tidal realm. Zhang Wenwen looked at Su Ju and said, "Ajiu, I think you are very confident in breaking through the tidal realm." Su Ju chuckled and said, "How can I have any confidence? It's just that since I embark on the path of cultivation, I have to have a goal, right?" Zhang Wenwen smiled and said nothing more. Su Ju looked at Zhang Wenwen and continued, "Sister Wenwen, where did you study before?" "Demon City Yiyu, Magic City." When Su Ju heard this, he also became interested and said, "Sister Wenwen, how strong is the Demon City's first Imperial Guard?" Zhang Wenwen smiled and said, "It's very good. It's no worse than the Imperial City. Last year, the Imperial City came to the Magic City to play in the gym. The fight between the two sides was very exciting." Hearing Zhang Wenwen talk about playing in the restaurant, Su Ju's eyes suddenly lit up. "Sister Wenwen, can we still play in the restaurant?" Zhang Wenwen was a little surprised when she was asked. She looked at Su Ju and said, "Why not? As long as you are strong, you can go to the restaurant by yourself." When Su Ju heard this, his eyes narrowed. Seeing Su Ju's expression, Zhang Wenwen's heart skipped a beat and said, "Ajiu, don't tell me that you also want to go to the Magic City to play in restaurants." Su Ju quickly waved his hand and said, "No, no, no, Sister Wenwen misunderstood, I wanted to go to Fengcheng to play in a restaurant." Going to Fengcheng. Zhang Wenwen knew Su Ju well and knew that he was from Fengcheng, so it was understandable that he would go to Fengcheng to play in restaurants. "Ajiu, even if you go to Fengcheng to play in a restaurant, it's not very safe. The strength of Fengcheng Yiyu is not weak. You should think twice." Su Ju smiled slightly and said, "Sister Wenwen, I'm not challenging the entire school. I'm challenging those in the 2nd grade and below. Is there anything wrong with this?" Hearing what Su Ju said, Zhang Wenwen thought of Su Ju's abnormal physical strength and tactics specially designed for ring fighting. "I feel that let alone going to Fengcheng, even if I go to Magic City and only challenge the 1st and 2nd graders, I still have a high winning rate. Ajiu, why do you think of challenging the 1st and 2nd grade students in Fengcheng?" Su Ju snorted and explained, "During the freshman competition, those principals belittled me as worthless. In the end, if the principal and master hadn't thought highly of me, I might not even have a chance to go to school. Now that I have such strength, I naturally have to return to Fengcheng and go to their school to ask in front of their principal whether I, Su Ju, am a beast master." Su Ju rested for a day in the research center, and by the next day, he had completely recovered. "When I found the principal and master, I happened to see Chen Baichuan coming to hand over." "Big brother." When Chen Baichuan saw Su Ju coming over, he smiled slightly and said, "Xiao Ju, I heard that you have a virgin girlfriend." "Ah." Su Ju was stunned when he heard this, and then looked at the principal and master aside. Zhang Shan coughed lightly and said, "Ahem. Xiaoju, don't explain, we all understand." "Do you all understand?" "Know what?" Chen Baichuan patted Su Ju on the shoulder and said, "I heard from master that the girl Wenwen is very good. Xiaoju, you have to seize the opportunity." "Where is this going?" Just when Su Ju was about to say something, Zhang Shan changed the topic and said, "Our research center will be established in the next 2 days, right next to the Chinese Garden Dog Research Center." When Su Ju heard this, his eyes suddenly lit up and he said, "Master, can I stay in your training center?" Zhang Shan chuckled and said, "Of course, no, your place is spacious, there are too many people here, there is no room." Master, how many people do we have in this training center? How come there are too many?" Zhang Shan said, "The entire martial arts department is full of people from the training center. Do you think there are too many people? Suju calculated that the entire martial arts department only had about 40 people in total, which was not a lot. Just as he was about to speak, Chen Baichuan said, "Junior brother, why are you so ignorant? There are only 2 of you over there, and there are more than 40 people here. It's obvious where the conditions are good and where the conditions are bad. Master can still trick you." Zhang Shan looked at his eldest disciple with a look of relief and said, "Well, your senior brother is right, Xiao Ju, this opportunity must not be missed, and it will never come back." Chen Baichuan continued, "Besides, our 2 families are separated by a wall. You can come here during the day and go back at night. It won't delay your training." Suju wanted to say, "Is that what I meant?" Seeing that Suju still wanted to talk, Zhang Shan said directly, "Okay, it's settled. This is your Cao Cao ginseng. Take it and go back. I heard that you were injured. Let Wenwen take good care of you." Suju wanted to say something else, but was kicked out by his master and senior brother. When Suju left here, Zhang Xin's figure appeared in the room, gave the 2 people a sensible expression, and then left. Zhang Shan glanced at Chen Baichuan and made a silent gesture. Chen Baichuan understood instantly. Next, the 2 of them talked about some work handover matters. After half an hour, Zhang Shan breathed a sigh of relief. "Let's go." After hearing this, Chen Baichuan also looked helpless and said, "Master, how come this junior brother is targeted by this person?" Zhang Shan sighed and said, "There is no way, your junior brother is too good, and the evolution road map of the Chinese pastoral dog was also produced by your junior brother, do you understand?" "What? The evolution road map of the Chinese garden dog was also produced by my junior brother?" This time Chen Baichuan was really shocked. During this period, there was a lot of fuss about the discovery of a new evolutionary route for Chinese garden dogs. Originally, he and everyone thought that the discovery of the evolutionary path of the Chinese pastoral dog was really discovered by Zhang Xin. Now I have never thought that Master said it was my junior brother who discovered this matter. Zhang Shan nodded and said, "Not only that, your junior brother also made a set of 36 orifices training method for the Chinese pastoral dog. Do you understand this time?" After hearing this, Chen Baichuan couldn't help but shake his head and said, "I understand, my junior brother is so outstanding that I want to win him over to our Chen family." After hearing this, Zhang Shan snorted coldly and said, "Ha, this is your family of cultivators. They want to put everything into their own bowls." After hearing what Master said, Chen Baichuan did not refute. After all, there was nothing wrong with what Master said. Zhang Shan continued, "Your junior brother's opportunity should be great. Just know about it yourself and don't publicize it." Chen Baichuan nodded and said, "Master, I understand." Zhang Shan glanced out the window and said, "Actually, letting your junior brother be with Zhang Wenwen is also a good thing for him." Chen Baichuan understood what his master meant and said, "Master, in fact, our Chen family can also save our junior brother." "Fart, what's going on with your Chen family here? I, Zhang Xin, and Chen Baichuan are here. I advise you to give up this idea." The 2 people looked at each other and saw shock in each other's eyes. Unexpectedly, Zhang Xin did not leave, but stayed here, and even heard the conversation between the master and the apprentice. In the room where Zhang Xin's figure appeared again, she looked at Chen Baichuan and said, "Chen Baichuan, I advise you to give up on this idea. Su Jusheng is a member of my Zhang family, and death is the ghost of my Zhang family. Your Chen family don't have any thoughts, otherwise don't blame me, Zhang Xin, for being rude." Zhang Shan coughed lightly and said, "Ahem, that." "Shut up." Zhang Shan was helpless and gave his eldest disciple a helpless look. "There is nothing I can do. When I encounter such a female hooligan, I can't beat her or scold her. I can only endure it." Chen Baichuan quickly apologized and said with a smile, "Master Poison Rose was joking, that's what I said, I didn't mean it." Zhang Xin snorted and said, "You know what's going on." Turning around and looking at Zhang Shan, he said, "And you, study the training method carefully and try to get the 36 aperture technique as soon as possible. Also, you have to work hard, just in case I am in a good mood. Aren't you the same way? I am a member of the Zhang family." "Hey, yes, yes." Zhang Xin snorted and left the room again. This time, both the master and the disciple were honest, and no one mentioned anything about Suju anymore. But Chen Baichuan was keenly aware of one thing. The relationship between Master and the Poison Rose Master was a bit complicated. What do you mean? If I am in a good mood, you will also be a member of the Zhang family. There is something wrong here. Just because of previous examples, Chen Baichuan didn't say anything about it this time, wanting to wait until it was absolutely safe to ask the master. On the other side, after Su Ju returned to the research center, he took out the 30,000-year-old ginseng, admired it, and then put it back. When Wannian Kaichao ginseng was used before, I almost fainted from the pain. Now that this 30,000-year-old ginseng has opened its eyes, Su Joujun is worried that it will really hurt him to death. With the lesson of being almost kicked to death by Kui Niu before, Su Ju became much more careful this time. Seeing Su Ju come back, Zhang Wenwen said, "Ajiu, what's for dinner tonight? I'll make it for you." Su Ju thought for a while and said, "Sister Wenwen, just make me whatever you want to eat. I'm not picky about food." That's good. After seeing Zhang Wenwen leave, Su Ju couldn't help but think of what his master said before. I don't know what's wrong with the principal and master today, he actually persuaded me to be with Zhang Wenwen. Just when Su Ju was complaining, the sound of the system sounded in his ears. Task: how can a strong man not have a few confidants on his way to fall in love? He will be rewarded with 2 plant pet beast eggs and mental resistance plus 3/0. What the hell? Su Ju only felt that this world was too ridiculous, and the god of reward system actually wanted to let him fall in love. Wrong. This system must be out of control. Doesn't it know that falling in love will sacrifice its training time? Furthermore, falling in love can also distract oneself, which is inconsistent with the original intention of God rewarding those who work hard. Host: as the saying goes, behind a successful man, there must be several women. A man who has not experienced lovelorn is not a mature man. If you don't fall in love, there is no use keeping such a good waist. When Su Ju heard this, he was stunned. There was something wrong with the system of rewarding people. Why do you mean keeping such a good kidney is of no use? However, the reward is quite generous. 2 of the plant beast eggs were given at once, and there was also the mental resistance that did not appear. It looked like a good thing at first glance. Looking at Zhang Wenwen's leaving figure, Su Ju sighed, "Sister Wenwen, I really don't want to trick you, this reward is really too generous. Host, can we please have some respect and stop being so arrogant? Do you dare to say that you haven't thought about it? I never thought about it. Do you believe it yourself? I believe it. Bah, scumbag." On the dining table, Su Ju raised his head and glanced at Zhang Wenwen, feeling that falling in love was not impossible. Of course, he also admitted that Zhang Wenwen's appearance was in line with his aesthetics. But it's definitely not what the system said about being lustful and lusting after someone else's body. He, Su Ju, is definitely not that kind of person. Zhang Wenwen saw Su Ju looking at her and said, "What's wrong?" Su Ju, who was caught, was not too embarrassed. He also knew why Zhang Wenwen came here. "Sister Wenwen, I saw you used Flower Fairy yesterday. So you are a plant beast master?" Zhang Wenwen nodded and said, "Well, my natal beast is an S-level Flower Fairy. The other pet beasts in the contract are also of the plant type. Now I am a Diamond Realm 9-star beast master." Hearing Zhang Wenwen's words, Su Ju was stunned, and then said, "But I heard from Master, aren't you only in the 2nd grade?" Zhang Wenwen smiled slightly and said, "Yes, I am indeed in the 2nd grade. What's wrong? What's wrong?" Su Ju looked at Zhang Wenwen seriously and said, "What are you talking about? Diamond Realm 9 stars, you are too genius, aren't you?" Zhang Wenwen smiled slightly and said, "It's not bad, he's not too talented. He's a reserve member of the national team." Depend on. Su Ju wanted to complain. "Is it okay for you to call the reserve members of the national team?" Seeing Su Ju so surprised, Zhang Wenwen's vanity was greatly satisfied. "How's it going? Is your sister Wenwen okay?" Su Ju had an exaggerated look on his face and said, "How can I call this okay? This is quite good, right? You are a reserve member of the national team." Zhang Wenwen covered her mouth and giggled, and continued, "My strength can only be considered to be okay. There is still no way to compare with the top monsters. Being able to enter the national team also takes advantage of the therapist." The corner of Su Ju's mouth twitched, feeling that this Sister Wenwen was very good at Versailles. You must know that healers can be said to be the most popular profession among beast masters. There is no other profession. Even if you awaken a healing pet beast with F-level potential, there will still be a beast mastering school that wants you. The awakened one in front of me is an S-level flower fairy. Needless to say, her potential is no weaker than that of an SSS level person. Sister Wenwen, I saw that there are air battles, water battles, and land battles in the Inter-School League. Why haven't you seen the plant-based battles? Zhang Wenwen explained. Ajiu, you haven't seen that it is normal for the plant type to fight. Generally speaking, the plant type is not good at fighting. After all, where is the movement speed of the plant type? Su Ju indeed ignored this point. No matter how awesome the plant type beast is, it is still a target if it cannot move. Zhang Wenwen said again, it cannot be said that the plant department is not strong in combat effectiveness. It can only be said that the Inter-School League is too restrictive for the plant department. If it's on the battlefield, with the cover of other team members, the combat power of the plant system is still very impressive. When Su Ju heard this, he couldn't help but feel a little itchy, and said, Sister Wenwen, I haven't fought against the plant type yet, how about we fight once? Zhang Wenwen smiled slightly and said, okay, then let me show you my strength. It is normal to compete with each other in the world of beast control, and it is also an opportunity to show oneself. Zhang Wenwen also wanted to know Su Ju's strength personally through fighting, and let Su Ju see his own strength. The two of them had dinner, chatted for a while, and then came to the training ground. Zhang Wenwen looked at Su Ju and said, Ajiu, we agreed in advance that you can't use the skill the day before yesterday. I really can't stop you. Su Ju smiled slightly and said, Sister Wenwen is overthinking. I just want to understand the combat methods of plant beast masters. This is not a competition. Hearing Su Ju's words, Zhang Wenwen smiled. What does this kid mean that it can be used in competitions? She really felt sad for his opponents. The power of that kick made her cringe when she thought about it. Then start now. Good. After Su Ju said this, he did not use his own tactics of preventing opponents from summoning, and began to summon pet beasts in an orderly manner. Both Rhubarb and Kui Niu were summoned by him, and Zhang Wenwen had already recruited 4 pet beasts. Sting Ball, Poisonous Sting Attack, Wood, Vine Entanglement, Little Demon, Slow Poisonous Mist. Su Ju felt the poisonous stings all over the sky were attacking him, and there was no place to dodge even if he wanted to dodge. In the end, he relied on his super physical strength to withstand the poisonous sting attack for 5 seconds. When Zhang Wenwen saw this scene, she couldn't help but sigh, how extraordinary these two beasts Su Ju were. She expected that Kui Niu could withstand the poisonous sting attack of her own fairy thorn ball. But Rhubarb was able to withstand the poisonous sting attack, and the 2 pet beasts were able to rush forward despite the attack, accomplishing something that even Su Ju could not do. Da Wang was faster and rushed over with just 1 impact. Da Wang's target is clearly not these beasts, but Zhang Wenwen herself. Moo. Kui Niu waited until the sting was over and immediately used Kui Niu Roar. I didn't dare to use it just now because I was afraid that if I opened my mouth, the stinger would fly into my mouth. Zhang Wenwen's body visibly stiffened, and she was obviously fainted. Da Wang was about to attack when he was stunned by the voice. Fortunately, Rhubarb's resistance to dizziness was higher than that of Zhang Wenwen, so he woke up from the dizziness first, and then gave Zhang Wenwen a hit. Zhang Wenwen relied on her 9-star Diamond Realm body to withstand Da Wang's attack. Then her pet beast, the Banyan Tree Demon, drew more than a dozen vines and knocked away the big yellow that was still trying to attack. At this time, Su Ju also used Charged Explosion and Lightning Step to rush over. Before he could attack, more than a dozen vines also wrapped around him. Su Ju did not dare to neglect and used Lightning Steps to avoid the Banyan Tree Demon's attacks while constantly getting closer to Zhang Wenwen. Zhang Wenwen waved her hand and merged with the cactus on the side, and then launched the stinger attack again. Su Ju didn't dare to confront him directly and hid behind Kui Niu. Kui Niu's figure can completely cover Su Ju's figure. Then Su Ju chose to merge with Kui Niu, and the one-legged Tauren appeared again. Upon seeing this, Zhang Wenwen immediately merged with the Banyan Tree Demon, transformed into a tentacle monster, and continued to flog Su Ju. It's just that this attack can't cause much damage to the combined Suju. Facing the Banyan Tree Demon's cane attack, Suju directly activated the strongest combination and kicked the Banyan Tree Demon. Bang! The terrifying kick on the Banyan Tree Demon did not kick Zhang Wenwen out of the combined state as expected. Zhang Wenwen said, "Don't underestimate the defensive power of the plant system. In terms of defensive power, most pet beasts cannot keep up with the plant system." Suju didn't believe in evil, so he kicked the same spot more than 10 times in a row, causing a large hole to appear in the big banyan tree. Then a scene that left Suju speechless appeared. The flower fairy floating in the air. After a few healing spells, the tree hole healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. Depend on. Suju was a little depressed. The plant system was too difficult to deal with. Then Suju gave up attacking the banyan tree demon and turned to attack the flower fairy. And Hua Shanzi was originally an elf-like beast. She flapped her wings and flew directly into the sky, without giving Suju a chance to attack. Seeing this scene, Suju could only give up and continue attacking. This was not a competition, it was just a discussion between the two. "Sister Wenwen, stop fighting, you plant type is too difficult to deal with." Zhang Wenwen chuckled and said, "This is because you don't have a fire-attributed beast. Fire-attributed beasts can defeat our plant system." Fire-attribute pet. Suju nodded after hearing this, feeling that after contracting the three-legged golden crow, he should be able to change his current passive state. Looking at the realm that was already approaching the 9-star gold realm, Suju was even more looking forward to entering the platinum realm. Imperial Stadium. Today's game is particularly eye-catching. Juyu, the biggest dark horse in this inter-school league, finally met the strongest king, Yiyu. Now we have to see whether Juyu can take the dark side to the end, or whether Yiyu can hold the strongest throne in the imperial capital. Juyu rest area. Hao Yun looked at all the team members and said with a relaxed expression, "Don't panic, everyone, we can achieve such results, we are already worthy of pride. So in today's game, let's play freely, don't be burdened, just show your original strength." While Suju was listening to Hao Yun's speech, he was called out by Chen Baichuan. "What's wrong, senior brother?" Chen Baichuan said with an ugly face. "Xiao Ju, do your senior brother a favor and kill He Qingyan across from you." Suju looked at Chen Baichuan in shock, wondering why his senior brother would let him kill someone. Chen Baichuan looked ugly and said, "In the last battle between one emperor and 3 emperors, Nanyi died, and it was this He Qingyan who killed him. Does the referee not care?" Chen Baichuan snorted coldly. "There is a death quota." During the game, He Qingyan suddenly broke out and killed Lin Nanyi in an instant without giving the referee a chance to take action. Suju understood, and his eyes instantly narrowed into slits. "Although I haven't been in contact with Lin Nan for a long time, I still have some feelings for him." He looked at Chen Baichuan and said, "Elder brother, don't worry, He Qingyan will die." Chen Baichuan nodded and said, "Use as much strength as you need to fight against the first Imperial Guard. This Imperial Guard has always been arrogant. When we fought against the 9 Imperial Guards last year, a man named Fan Joshan killed 2 students from the 9 Imperial Guards in a row and even maimed them. Got 3 students. Suju didn't expect Yiyu's people to be so cruel, and said, "Elder brother, I will teach Yiyu a lesson he will never forget." "Well, go ahead, as long as it's within the rules of the game, you can do whatever you want." "I understand, senior brother." Compared to the relaxed side of Juyu, the strongest Emperor Yiyu seemed a bit serious and nervous. They don't have to worry about the games between the 3rd and 4th graders, but they have to worry about the games between the 1st and 2nd graders. Coach Yidu Yiyu looked at the 1st and 2nd grade players and said, "You must have watched Suju's battle video from Juyu many times, so I won't go into details one by one. The 1st grade competition will begin in a moment. Nangong Mingyu, you will be the first to play. Whether you can eliminate Suju or not depends on you. If you win the first game, there will be no suspense in the following games." Nangong Mingyu nodded and said, "Coach, I understand." Seeing this, the coach continued, "Mingyu, don't put too much burden on you. It doesn't matter if you lose, but remember to consume Suju's soul power as much as possible to prepare for the next team members." "Yes, coach." As the time approached, Suju was sent to the ring by Hao Yun first. In this kind of competition, either you give your opponent a string of 10, or you are beaten by your opponent, so the strongest player is always sent to the stage. Suju saw the woman opposite. According to the information, she was the #1 person in the first grade of Imperial Capital, Nangong Mingyu. Nangong Mingyu looked at Suju and said, Suju, I have seen your battle videos, and I have to admit that you are really strong. Suju looked at Nangong Mingyu, nodded, and said, well, I think I'm very strong too. Depend on. Hearing Suju's words, Nangong Mingyu felt messy in the wind. Isn't it time to praise the other person? What does it mean that you think I'm strong too? Suju looked at Nangong Mingyu and said, you are no match for me. Otherwise, you should admit defeat in advance, otherwise you will be kicked away by me, which will be bad. My leg strength has increased recently, and I'm afraid you won't be able to bear it. Quote. HMPH, Suju, you are too arrogant. Nangong Mingyu's face looked a little ugly. This kid didn't follow the routine at all. How could he talk like this? Suju shook his head and said, this is not arrogance, but the evaluation given by my opponent. Just now you said that I was very powerful, you forgot. Young people nowadays have really bad memories. What the hell? Nangong Mingyu had the urge to vomit blood. This fool was so out of character. When the people in the stands heard Suju's words, they couldn't help laughing. Zhang Wenwen looked at Suju on the ring and was very satisfied with his performance. This was originally a trash talk session. For the Interschule League, the game actually started from this moment. Suju's current performance is indeed remarkable. With just a few words, he managed to make Nangong Mingyu confused. Even Coach Yiyu couldn't help but shake his head when he saw it. Compared to Suju, Nangong Mingyu was indeed a little inferior. Just when Nangong Mingyu was still trying to explain something, the referee saw that the time was almost up and announced, the game begins. Hearing the referee's voice, Nangong Mingyu no longer dared to be careless and summoned him immediately. Suju, however, exceeded everyone's expectations. Instead of using his previous tactics, he made irregular summons. The difference is that Nangong Mingyu summoned the Natal Beast, while Suju summoned Kui Niu. The summoning speeds of the two were not much different, and they completed the summoning almost at the same time. When Nangong Mingyu still wanted to summon him, Kui Niu yelled at her. Moo! It only took an instant for Nangong Mingyu, who was also in the Golden Realm, to enter a dizzy state. Suju smiled slightly and walked towards Nangong Mingyu calmly, without even using his skills. In everyone's surprised eyes, he came to the opposite side of Nangong Mingyu and kicked him off the ring. Until Nangong Mingyu fell into the ring, she was still in a dazed state. Nangong Mingyu is only a 7-star star in the Golden Realm, and her realm is not as high as Suju's. At this time, Kui Niu, who had entered the 9 stars of the Golden Realm, could stun Nangong Mingyu for more than 10 seconds with his voice. For Suju, 10 seconds was enough for him to finish off his opponent several times. Looking at Nangong Mingyu under the ring, Suju looked at the audience on the stage and smiled slightly. In the same realm, I am invincible. It was a very simple 6 words, but it was impossible for all viewers to refute. When Coach Yiyu saw this scene, he could only shake his head helplessly. The skill of that strange cow is so terrifying. When fighting against the 4 emperors before, it could even stun the Star Glory realm. This shows how terrifying this skill is. Now even he was unable to refute Suju's words. When Zhang Wenwen saw Suju's stinking look, she smiled and shook her head, feeling that she had to remind him when Suju came back. Invincible in the same realm. Let's defeat your cow first, right? When the referee saw this scene, he shook his head. Even if Suju didn't use such tactics, he could indeed be said to be invincible at the same level with just this cow. After Nangong Mingyu was relieved of her dizziness, she looked at Suju on the stage with an indignant look and said, if you have the ability to fight with your true skills. Suju looked at her, laughed, and said politely, okay, we don't need to pet animals, I can have a fight with you. Why don't you let me use my pet? Suju snorted coldly and said, why, then why do you say that I am not really capable? When you have an advantage, you are really capable. If I win, you are just opportunistic. Little fairy, grow up quickly. This is an interschool, the league is not your home. Nangong Mingyu wanted to say something else, but was dragged back by Yiyu's people. At this time, He Qingyan, a first-year beast master, walked onto the ring, looked at Suju and said, "What else do you have besides those tactics and stun skills? What kind of beast master are you? What kind of beast master are you?" This sentence may not seem like much to others, but it makes Suju feel like he has returned to the moment of the freshman competition. The principal of Fengcheng Beast Control School at that time also commented on Suju in the same way. "You said I'm not a beast master." He Qingyan sneered and said, "That's right, you are not a beast master. What is the difference between you and a pure warrior? Please don't waste the word beast master, you are not worthy. I don't deserve it." Suju was angry, looked at He Qingyan with red eyes, and said again, "You say it again." He Qingyan said disdainfully, "It doesn't matter how many times I say it, you are not worthy of being called a beast master. What if you are satisfied? If you want to prove that you are a beast master, don't use those rogue tactics. Do you understand?" Suju suppressed the anger in his heart, looked at He Qingyan and said coldly, "Okay, I will help you. I can use my body without martial arts, or I cannot let my Kui Niu use the stun skills. I want you to see if I am beast master." He Qingyan looked at Suju, chuckled, and said, "Suju, you said this yourself. If you didn't use those tactics and your pet stun skills, everyone would have heard it." Suju snorted coldly and said, "You don't need to provoke me like this. It's useless. Since I, Suju, have said it, I will definitely not use it. But for what I said before, I hope the referee will be prepared and don't kill me when the time comes." I killed him and said I was ruthless. When the audience heard this, they immediately became interested. Was this competition so popular from the beginning? The referee nodded and said, "I will always pay attention to your safety, so you can rest assured and compete." In the Yiyu rest area, Yiyu coach was very satisfied with He Qingyan's performance. "See, this is the fighting mind. Sometimes you don't need to rely on brute force. Wisdom is also a kind of fighting power. I hope you can all follow He Qingyan's example and learn to fight with your mind." All the members of Yiyu shouted at the same time, "Yes." Coach Yiyu looked at Suju on the ring with contemptuous eyes and said, "Young man, this Suju must be too young. He gave up his greatest advantage in just a few words." Alas! No one on Juyu's side thought that Suju would be defeated. After all, the body that could withstand the Platinum Level 9-star pet beast was not something that was blown away. Then He Qingyan is only in the Golden Realm. No matter how powerful his pet beast is, it is only in the Golden Realm. A pet beast in the Golden Realm can beat Suju, what a joke. Chen Baichuan nodded with satisfaction, thinking that Suju had lost his mind, but he didn't know that it was a reason for him to kill He Qingyan. Even if the reason is for yourself, you just need to convince yourself. Others don't matter. When the audience saw this scene, many people felt that Suju was too arrogant. Suju is too arrogant. The continuous string of 20s has made him forget himself. Alas, the arrogant soldiers will be defeated. No, this Suju is still too young. He Qingyan made him give up his biggest advantage with just a few words. Don't you see it? Nangong Mingyu's words before stepping down were actually paving the way for He Qingyan. These are all tactics. Hi, if you didn't tell me, I haven't discovered that there is something special about Nangong Mingyu. I thought she had big breasts and no brains. Are you kidding? The little princess of the Nangong family has big breasts and no brains. It's just a routine. Look, Suju is on top. On the ring, the referee looked at the time and said, "The game begins." As the referee finished speaking, Suju did not use the direct kicking tactic. He summoned his pet beasts in an orderly manner, first summoning Rhubarb, and then summoning Kui Niu. He only needed to complete the summons twice, and the summon speed was faster than the opponent. When Kui Niu was summoned, the second pet beast on the opposite side had just been summoned. Suju did not choose to attack, but merged with Kui Niu. After he merged, the other side just summoned the third pet beast. Suju still didn't attack, just waiting quietly for He Qingyan to summon him. After all three pet beasts on the opposite side were summoned, Suju looked at him and said, "Now I can attack." He Qingyan didn't mean to answer him at all, and said to his pet beast, "Qing, rocket skills, Xiao Yu, charge me, tiger, bite him." Seeing the tactics deployed by the other side, Suju smiled slightly and said to Dawang, "Dawang, stop them." After saying that, Suju directly activated the charged lightning step, came to a pet beast, and started fighting with it. When the referee saw Suju being surrounded by two pet beasts, he couldn't help but shake his head and lamented that Suju was so confused when he gave up his biggest advantage. But what he didn't notice was that Suju kept retreating in the direction of He Qingyan. Dawang rushed out of the siege of the beasts on the opposite side and charged towards He Qingyan. He Qingyan instinctively moved closer to his two pet beasts. Suju saw the opportunity coming and no longer cared about the attacks of the other two pet beasts. Directly turning on the charged explosion, lightning step, and Mingyu's stop skill, all of He Qingyan's reactions were slowed down by half a beat. He came to He Qingyan's side in an instant, and then used Kui Niu's war trample. Bang! This kick hit He Qingyan's head firmly, and then his whole head was instantly kicked to pieces by Suju. He Qingyan didn't even let out a scream until he died, and he didn't even know how he died. After Suju solved his opponent with one kick, he turned to look at the referee and said, "Why didn't you protect him well?" Me. The referee was dumbfounded, completely dumbfounded. It all happened so fast that he didn't even have a chance to react. It can't be said that there is no chance of reaction. If I wanted to save him just now, I could have saved him. But he thought that even if Suju attacked He Qingyan's 8-star Golden Realm strength would be able to withstand Suju's attack. But he didn't expect that Suju's combined kick would be so powerful that it instantly shattered He Qingyan's head. At this time, countless people in the stands became excited after seeing such a bloody scene. How could this Suju do this? He was too cruel. We are all students, is there any need to do this? That's right, it's too bloody. This Suju is a murderous demon. No, 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 this has nothing to do with Suju. The referee didn't stop it. What does it have to do with Suju? It's just that this year's referees are so rubbish. They can't even stop the students' attacks. This is dereliction of duty. Suju looked at the referee and said, "Can you declare me the winner?" Hearing Suju's calm words, the referee finally reacted, looked at Suju and said, "How could you do this?" Suju looked at the referee with an innocent face and said, "Didn't you say you would always pay attention to our safety? I am a freshman and I don't know much about the power of skills. Don't you, a referee, still know this? Besides, I warned you in advance, isn't it?" The referee was scolded by Suju and didn't know how to refute. After all, Suju was right. Suju did say before that he had the strength to kill He Qingyan. But at that time, I only regarded Suju's words as trash talk. I didn't expect that this guy actually had the strength to kill He Qingyan. Suju saw the referee and didn't speak for a long time. He said to the referee's seat, "I, Suju, win." This sentence was so loud that several referees on the referee's bench had to respond. The chief referee took the initiative and said, "The imperial capital Juyu, Suju Sheng." Suju looked at the imperial capital and said, "I apply to continue the challenge. Referee, please be prepared for protection. Don't say I didn't remind you." At this time, the Yiyu rest area was already in chaos, and the coach did not expect such a scene to occur. Just now, I said that I would follow He Qingyan as an example, but I didn't expect to be slapped in the face by Suju the next second. What should these students learn now? How to be killed. Although someone was killed in the inter-school league in previous years, it was another school after all, and Imperial Capital had not appeared before. Now that I am leading the team, if something like this happens, I will definitely not end well. Although He Qingyan was killed by Suju, he was the coach of the team, so he was definitely not to blame. Now after hearing Suju's words, Coach Yiyu looked at the first-year players and said, "Sun City, come on." The person whose name was called looked at the coach with a deep look. "Does that mean you want me to die?" The coach said, "Don't worry, the referee is watching this time, you will be fine." Sun City responded and went directly to the ring without contradicting the coach in public. Suju looked at the team members coming up from the opposite side and asked, "Come on, tell me, am I a beast master?" Facing this murderer, Sun City did not dare to show any lightness and quickly said, Yes, you are a beast master." Suju's expression softened and he said, "Well, you can admit defeat." Sun City really had no intention of taking action against Suju. The two were not on the same level at all. I surrender. Sun Sidi immediately announced his defeat without even thinking about it. After getting off the ring, he didn't even return to the rest area and left the field directly. When Coach Yiyu saw this scene, he was so angry that he looked at another team member and said, Hao Fuchun, come on. Hao Fuchun didn't waste any time and quickly entered the ring. Without waiting for Suju to speak, he said directly, you are the Beast Master. I give up. Joke. Knowing that he was no match for Suju, why did he go up there and wait to be killed? The referee will protect you. The referee said he would pay attention to it last time, but Qingyan was still dead. Coach Yiyu was furious. Do these two fools want to piss me off to death? Zhe Jianqi, come on. Zhe Jianqi glanced at the coach and already had the answer in his mind. If one or two admit defeat, it is definitely the student's problem, but if all the first-year students admit defeat, it is the coach's problem. Precisely because of this thought, after taking the stage, he also did not give Suju a chance to speak, and said directly, don't ask, you must be a beast master, I give up. The referee quickly said, student, don't worry about safety, we will protect you. Zhe Jianqi did not save any face for the referee and said directly, no, I have no confidence in you. You said you would pay attention just now, but Qingyan is still dead. As soon as these words came out, the referee's face turned pale, but he didn't know how to refute. Zhe Jianqi did not give the referee a chance to continue speaking and walked directly off the ring. This is also his brilliance. I gave up not because I was afraid of fighting, but because the referee could not protect us. This is the referee's problem. You have made the students lose their confidence. Sure enough, as soon as these words were uttered, they resonated with countless students. At the same time, the referee team also felt an unprecedented crisis of trust. Podium. The principal of the First Royal Academy, Wu Tianyu, looked livid, looked at Zhang Shan aside, and said, you have gained a good disciple. Since the handover work has not been completed, Zhang Shan is still the principal of Juyu. Zhang Shan looked at Principal Yiyu. This person was not in the legendary realm, but a one-star beast master in the titled realm. If it had been before, I might have said a few words about the situation, saying that a child was not careful about his actions. But now that I am the director of the training center appointed by Kong Hanlin, I don't need to give him face at all. Well, you are right. I appreciate this decisive approach. Since you don't believe it, then I will kill you to make you believe it. Not bad, not bad. Wu Tianyu looked at Zhang Shan and said coldly, Zhang Shan, what do you mean? Zhang Shan snorted coldly and said, why are you trying to show off your prestige with me? I wasn't the one who killed your student. Go find Suju. I won't stop you. Wu Tianyu was so upset that he, a title-level principal, was looking for trouble for the golden-level students. If this matter is spread, it will become the laughingstock of the entire Dragon Kingdom and even the entire beast-controlling world. Even if he goes out of his way to trouble Suju, Kong Hanlin will not let him go. Wu Tianyu looked at Zhang Shan and said, Zhang Shan, is this how you teach your disciples? Zhang Shan rolled his eyes and immediately had an idea. I told you, Principal Wu, you really made a mistake in saying this. I really didn't teach you this. Wu Tianyu's face immediately turned cold when he heard what Zhang Shan said. Zhang Shan, as Suju's master, you still want to shirk your responsibility. Don't you have any responsibility at all? Zhang Shan smiled bitterly and said, Principal Wu, if I taught him, I will definitely admit it, but it is true that I did not teach him this. He has another master. Ha, Suju is not just your master. Who else is there? Let me ask him. Is this how he teaches his disciples? Zhang Shan sighed and said, yes, Principal Wu, to be honest, Suju was not like this when he met me, but since he met another master, he has become vicious and vicious. I see it too. It hurts my heart. When Wu Tianyu heard this, he snorted coldly and said, tell me, who is Suju's master? I will go find him myself. This was what Zhang Shan was waiting for, and he quickly said, Zhang Xin, Poison Rose Royal Master Zhang Xin. Depend on. Wu Tianyu is wilted. He was still angry at first, but the moment he heard about Poison Rose Royal Master Zhang Xin, he really withered. It's not that I can't beat Zhang Xin, well, it's very possible that I really can't. After fighting, I can't put it aside for now, but Zhang Xin has no overall view of the situation at all. It's very possible that you go to her to argue with you, but she poisons you in the back. She doesn't care who you are. After all, this Poison Rose Royal Master has a criminal record, so he really has no sense of the overall situation. If you don't like me, no matter what you do, I'll kill you first. Looking at Suju on the ring again, he suddenly felt that it was natural for Suju to be so vicious. The direct disciple of Master Poison Rose is a bit vicious, but that's actually quite normal, isn't it? Zhang Shan saw that Wu Tianyu had stopped talking, but he didn't want to let him go. How come your arrogance has faded now? This is not possible. Principal Wu, I think you need to give Zhang Xin a beating so that she can't pass on her viciousness. Isn't this misleading? Your uncle. Wu Tianyu suddenly didn't want to talk anymore. Zhang Shan must have done this on purpose. When I go to beat up Poison Rose Master Zhang Xin, do I despise my own longevity? Zhang Shan snorted coldly. The meaning was obvious. What was your ability just now? Wu Tianyu just pretended not to hear it. You can think whatever you want. Anyway, I won't go to Zhang Xin. On the ring, all the remaining first-year players in Imperial City abandoned the competition, which put a lot of pressure on the referee team. While Coach Yiyu was angry, he had no choice. After all, he had no way to force these people to play. Referee, I apply to challenge the second-year players of Imperial City. Hearing Suju's words, Coach Yiyu of the Imperial Capital showed a cruel look on his face. He looked at the number 1 second grader aside and said, Lu Yuanxian, in this battle, you must show your style as our first emperor. Yes, coach, Lu Yuanxian is not afraid of fighting. Unlike those freshmen, he is an 8-star diamond player. Su Juneng was arrogant in the previous battle, but he had never met an opponent from the 8 stars of the diamond realm. Let him see today what it means that the majesty of Yiyu cannot be violated. When Suju saw Lu Yuanxian, the first person in the second grade of Imperial Capital, coming up, he snorted and said, Aren't you afraid of death? Lu Yuanxian snorted coldly and said, Do you think everyone is one of those weaklings? Suju smiled slightly and said, Yes, what Senior Yuanxian said is right. I'm a first-year student in the Imperial City. You guys are weaklings. Oh, this is not what I said. It was your Senior Yuanxian who said it. Lu Yuanxian said angrily, I never said that. He knew that once he admitted this statement, he would offend the entire Imperial Capital. Although I am strong, I am not worried about these junior students. But for those who can go to Imperial Capital to study, it doesn't matter which family they belong to. If he really admitted it, he would offend a lot of people. These people will not cause trouble for themselves, but will find their cousins to deal with them. Even if the school knew that it was being punished, it would turn a blind eye. Suju snorted coldly and said, Lu Yuanxian, your style is indeed very good. Is this how you teach Taoism to students? Suju's words made all the teachers and students of Yiyu very angry. This guy killed one of their people and yet he was provoking Yiyu like this at this time. Senior Yuanxian, kill him. Avenge He Qingyan. Yes, Senior Toyama, don't let him go, let him know how powerful our Imperial Capital is. Kill him, kill him, kill him. Lu Yuanxian looked at Suju and said, Did you hear that? You are causing public outrage. Suju chuckled and said, So what, they can't eat a piece of my flesh, but you, it's very dangerous. Lu Yuanxian snorted and said, Suju, don't be too arrogant, you. Just when Lu Yuanxian was about to say something else, the referee saw that the time was up and announced, the game begins. As the referee finished speaking, Suju and the opponent summoned their pet beasts at the same time. Mingdi's stop skill slowed down all Lu Yuanxian's movements by half a beat, and his summoning speed was almost the same as Suju's. This time Suju took the lead in summoning Dawang. Dawang came out and killed him instantly without Suju's command. At this time, Lu Yuanxian had just summoned his natal beast. When he saw Dawang coming to kill him, he immediately asked his natal beast to stop him. Since the two sides were very close, Suju did not summon Kui Niu, but followed Dawang to kill him. Before Lu Yuanxian had time to summon the second pet beast, Suju's heaven-prisoning finger had already arrived. This time, Suju used Mingdi's fear skill on Qi Tian's finger for the first time. In previous games, he did not take the initiative to use this skill, and now he wants to see how effective this skill is. Puff! Lu Yuanxian's second summons was interrupted, and he was struck by Su Ju's heaven-prisoning finger. Su Ju's golden level attack could not cause much harm to him. Just when he was about to move to his pet beast, he suddenly felt like he was in danger, as if he was being targeted by a demon. Su Ju used prisoner's finger again. The power was still the same, but it made the fear deepen. At this time, Su Ju had become a devil-like existence in Lu Yuanxian's eyes. Seeing him coming towards me, I couldn't help but think of the scene where He Qingyan was killed before. You, don't come over. You, don't come over. As soon as these words were spoken, the whole stadium burst into excitement. This Lu Yuanxian is too unbearable. He is the number 1 in the second grade of Imperial Capital. He was so arrogant before, but now he is scared. No, what does Lu Yuanxian mean? If you can't do it, then don't embarrass yourself, okay? Yi Yu's face will be completely embarrassed by you. Lu Yuanxian is such a loser. If you say you can't do it, why don't you go on stage? Leave the opportunity to those who are capable, okay? Isn't this Lu Yuanxian a parallel importer? Is the first person in the second grade like this? The rest area of the Imperial Capital. Coach Yi Yu's face was ashen. He didn't expect that the number 1 player in the second grade would be so courageous. He only has strength, and nothing else. Su Ju is only in the gold realm, but you are already 8 stars in the diamond realm. What the hell are you afraid of? Even the principal of Yi Yu, Wu Tianyu, didn't look good. This Lu Yuanxian was so embarrassing to Yi Yu. Zhang Shan teased from the side. Ah, isn't this the number 1 person in the second grade of Yi Yu? Tisk tisk, it's so good but not useful. Snort. Wu Tianyu snorted coldly, but did not answer Zhang Shan's words. Su Ju imprisoned Tianji several times in the ring, which made Lu Yuanxian's fear of him reach the extreme. Seeing Su Ju approaching step by step, he said directly, I give up, please, don't kill me. As soon as these words came out, even the referee looked extremely ugly. What does this Lu Yuanxian mean? I'm still here. What the hell are you scared of? Besides, He Qingyan is only in the gold realm. What are you afraid of in the diamond realm? It's nothing. When Su Ju heard that his opponent was admitting defeat, he ordered Da Wang to stop attacking. Looking at the trembling Lu Yuanxian, Su Ju snorted coldly and said, get out. Lu Yuanxian didn't even have the courage to refute now, so he left the ring dejectedly, not even daring to look at Su Ju again. Su Ju looked at the Imperial Lounge under the stage and couldn't help but shake his head. His arrogance made other teachers and students of the Imperial family want to tear him alive. Referee, I apply to continue the challenge. Coach Yi Yu said to another student. Niu Ben, you go up for this one, remember, even if you are not as good as Su Ju, don't go up and embarrass me. Niu Ben stood up and promised. Don't worry, coach, I will definitely let Su Ju know what the inviolability of Yi Yu's honor means. Okay, let's go, remember, we must show the momentum of Yi Yu. Yes, coach. Niu Ben left the rest area, quickly walked onto the ring, looked at Su Ju across from him and said, you will pay the price for your arrogance. Su Ju looked at Niu Ben across from him and said, Senior Niu Ben, right. Aren't you afraid of death? Do you think I'm Lu Yuanxian's weakling? Su Ju smiled slightly and said, actually, Lu Yuanxian is not afraid, but he is a wise man who knows the current affairs. He knows that he is not my opponent and avoids being beaten to death. It is not shameful to admit defeat in advance. Niu Ben snorted coldly and said, don't worry, even if I die here today, I won't be like Lu Yuanxian. He knew that now was an opportunity to attack Lu Yuanxian, who occupied a lot of resources by virtue of being the number 1 player in the second grade. Now that the previous scene has happened, Lu Yuanxian must be stamped underground and stamped hard. Even if he is powerful, he will not be given a chance to stand up. Su Ju chuckled, looked at Niu Ben and said, well, I hope you can match your words and deeds, and don't be as miserable as that Lu Yuanxian. Niu Ben snorted and said, don't worry, I'm not that loser. Su Ju stopped talking. In the battle against Lu Yuanxian just now, he had already tested his fear skills. Even Su Ju himself didn't expect Ming Fu's fear skills to be so powerful, no worse than Kui Niu's Kui Niu roar and war trample. As expected, it is a restricted RRR level pet beast, and its strength is really impressive. When the referee saw that the time was up, he said, "The game begins." Suju did not use the previous tactics this time, but summoned Kui Niu. Then he merged with Kui Niu, and the one-legged Tauren appeared in the ring again. Niu Ben desperately summoned his pet beasts, trying to summon all the pet beasts. After Suju merged, he saw that Niu Ben had not finished summoning him and did not take the initiative to attack. He wanted to try out the effect of integrating fear into Kui Niu's roar. One is Kui Niu's signature skill, and the other is Mingdi's signature skill. It's unclear how effective the combination will be. When the referee saw Suju's one-legged Tauren appear again, he was even more careful this time, worried that this guy might pull another trick. After all of Niu Ben's summons were completed, Suju integrated Ming's fear into Kui Niu Jian and shouted at Niu Ben. Moo! The terrifying sound wave ran towards the cow, and the fusion of skills from the two RRR level beasts made this move more powerful than 1+1. Niu Ben originally laughed at Sujutuo for daring to summon all the pet beasts. What greeted him was Kui Niu's super Kui Niu roar. At this moment, the way Niu Ben looked at Suju was different. The person on the opposite side was no longer Suju, but the god of death reaping life. At this moment of dizziness, he seemed to see the god of death cutting his own flesh with knife after knife. Because he was in a dizzy state, it was impossible for him to admit defeat and he could only endure boundless terror. Suju didn't attack, and just looked at the trembling Niu Ben. When the 5 seconds were up, Suju shouted again, causing Niu Ben to fall into the fear of being stunned again. After 10 seconds passed, Suju stopped using Kui Niu roar and just watched the bull run quietly. At this time, Niu Ben's two pet beasts could no longer bear the fear in their hearts and were scared to death. Niu Ben himself was so frightened that he peed his pants and collapsed directly on the ring, bleeding from the corner of his mouth. Countless viewers saw this scene and had no idea what Niu Ben had experienced. If Lu Qingyan hadn't been so unbearable before, these people would definitely laugh at Niu Ben. But now these people have realized that something is wrong. Lu Qingyan can still be said to be an exception, and there is no way to explain this Niu Ben. Seeing this scene, the referee confirmed that Niu Ben was no longer capable of fighting, and directly declared Suju the winner. Suju looked at the trembling Niu Ben and said, "I thought you were so powerful, but it turns out you are nothing more than that." When Niu Ben saw Suju talking to him, he was so frightened that he fainted. Seeing Niu Ben in such unbearable condition, Yiyu teachers and students all felt like they couldn't hold their heads up. Coach Yiyu called a timeout directly. He didn't become the coach just because of his connections. Now that Lu Qingyan and Niu Ben are happening one after another, they must find out and figure out countermeasures before taking the stage. According to the rules of the game, there will be a timeout opportunity for each game, and the timeout period is 5 minutes. Coach Yiyu looked at Niu Ben, who came down and said, Niu Ben, tell me, what did you go through just now?" Niu Ben had recovered a little at this time. Hearing the coach's words, he became incoherent as soon as he recalled them. Devil, Suju is the devil, he is the god of death, the endless abyss, look down and see the bottom, great horror, great horror. When the team members in the Yiyu rest area saw this scene, they all realized that the problem was serious. It's unclear what spell Suju cast on Niu Ben. Even though the game is over, he hasn't woken up from the nightmare yet. Coach Yiyu said directly to the team doctor, "Give him mental healing to stabilize his mood." I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.